It actually does kind of hurt because I did at the gym once just because I'm like, every time I go to the gym, I just see.
Wait, are we rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about
those are going too.
that one's on?
I think so. Let me check.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But every time I go to the gym, I see only females going on the clamp machine. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I did it. And I'm like, this is pretty easy. But the next day, my legs were the most sore they've ever been in their entire lives.
Dude, you
it's
played
the groin.
Yeah, you played sports in high school,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Dude, when you would tear your groin, isn't it the
It's
worst?
so bad.
It hurts because when I would tear my groin, it would even feel like I'd tear my hamstring. I feel like when I tear my hamstring, it hurts.
Yeah.
When I tear my groin, I always felt like it just wasn't in place. And it would be so annoying. I'd do a bunch of different maneuvers to try and fix it.
Yeah.
And it just had to take time. And I always felt like a groin tear was the worst injury for someone. Say if you play football, you tear your groin, you're so fucked for 2 weeks.
How would you hurt your groin? What movements are you doing?
If you just overstretch it, you're gonna destroy it. I remember my friend tore his pulled his groin, and it was a terrible injury. He had it for so long, it never really fully fixed.
It's such an interesting part of your body,
dude. And the best part of it was we had an athletic trainer, and she'd have to
rub it.
And she'd have to wrap it up. It would be so funny.
Yeah, I remember. Our athletic trainer. His name was Dice K. He was the man. He was I don't know where he was from, somewhere in Asia. He just came over. He barely spoke much English.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, he was great. But I tore my hamstring. Right beneath my knee where it connects, my junior year. And I would always go in. He'd give me massages and go up my butt and stuff and rub it. And he'd put ice and oh my gosh, it was so nice. But it was kind of intimate. He'd put some candles up too in front and just go after it.
My God.
He didn't put candles, but yeah.
No, I had some crazy injuries though. In 7th grade, I broke both my wrists snowboarding.
What?
Yeah, it was sick though.
Where was it?
I was in Pennsylvania. I honestly forget what mountain it was. Basically, those days where it doesn't snow at all and you're trying to have a good time on the mountain.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't ski or snowboard. So
I don't anymore. So
after this.
Yeah. So I was coming down. So I got down the hill, right? I was fine, and my board caught the ice at the bottom of the hill, and I had so much momentum going where I just fell forward. On your snowboard, you're supposed to fall on your butt, but I fell forward, and to break my fall, I broke with my wrists. And I wasn't wearing wrist guards, but the orthopedic told me that the speed and how hardcore I broke my wrists, if I was wearing wrist guards, I would have broke my elbows, which would have been way worse than my wrists. So for 6 weeks, I was in 2 casts.
Jesus, that's terrible.
Just the toll that takes
how'd you do anything?
No, being in 7th grade too is so funny because you're still young enough where you're going out and just doing stupid shit with your friends. I don't not we were innocent though, not drinking, not doing anything like that. Just constantly playing basketball or some stupid ass sport or something, having play dates. Those were in 7th grade.
Play dates.
And for a while I just couldn't do anything. It was in the winter though, so it wasn't it was in the summer where I couldn't. Yeah. But I couldn't swim.
How'd you write?
No, I had a scribe.
What about how'd you wipe your butt?
I'd have to wrap my. No, it was a mummy.
That's hilarious.
No, dude, it was so bad. And just the worst part about it was I don't know what you guys had because you live in New Jersey. For New York, we had these things called ELAs. Yeah, they're standardized tests that you have to take.
NJ Ask. We
had standardized tests, and I remember I had to take one during that time period, so I had the scribe take the whole test for me. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, all my tests. I remember I couldn't write anything. But I will say, low key, that I could, could write, like,
Yeah.
because the cast, like, you ever broken your wrist before?
Yeah.
Like the cast, what goes like this.
Yeah.
Like, so I had my fingers like mobile fine. Like it wasn't like it went over my fingers. Like I could write fine. I just kind of played that card that, like
You
was like way more injured than I was.
Yeah,
It was actually so funny.
that happened to one of my friends back in, I think it was like 6th or 7th grade. It was Halloween, and he was like this little kid, and then people, for some reason, because we're stupid, we had the yoga balls, and they would run at each other and hit. This guy went against someone who's now playing at Lehigh basketball. They ran against. He got yeeted, landed on both his wrists, and broke both his wrists on Halloween.
Dude, it's so funny because I only initially thought I broke one of them. So like when I fell, like I knew one of them was, because this one was worse. My right one was way worse. I heard it, and I was like, yeah, that one's gone. And then so we went to the ER in Pennsylvania. And like when you're in the Poconos ER, like you don't whatever. So they said it. Then I go back to the hotel and we're playing shuffleboard. You know that game with the sticks? So I'm using my other hand. Yeah. And like it hurt. Yeah. But I was like, it's probably fine. Like, I fell. And then so I'm back on Long Island. I go to my orthopedic. He takes off like their stuff because he's going to put like a cast on me. Yeah. And he's like, how's your other hand? And I was like, it's fine. It's a little tight. And he's like, oh, it's a little tight. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, because when I fell, I overextended it. And he was like, okay. So he started pushing it back. Yeah. And it started to hurt. So like he was like this, like, I just want to see how far it's going to go back. And I was like here, and it couldn't even go back because what happened was, I don't remember where I broke it, but the ligaments in my wrist got like really tight. So I couldn't move my hand all the way back. And he was like, this one's definitely broken too. Let me go take an x-ray. And sure enough, both of my wrists were broken. It was so devastating.
That's brutal. That just makes me think how feeble our bodies are.
Yeah, like, no, that's not even like I've gotten injured numerous times. Like that's just like the tip of the iceberg with me. Like my worst injuries have been popping out both of my shoulders. Not at the same time though, different times. Football. Junior year of high school, I was in practice. I went to go tackle my friend Jimmy. Jimmy's a big kid though.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
No, I love Jimmy. And I went to go tackle Jimmy, and I remember like my shoulders popped out. I'm like, yeah, it's done.
That's out there.
It's done. And I went to go get an MRI like the next week at the hospital for special surgery. Shout out to Dr. Ainsworth Allen.
Shout out.
And I got an MRI. He's like, yeah, your labrum's like completely torn off. And I was like, what do I do for this? Yeah. And he knew. He told me, he's like, you can't play any sports. Like you're decommissioned. And he's like, you can't play any sports until you get the surgery. Yeah. Every time you do something, it's gonna pop out. And sure enough, he was right. So I got the surgery June 2017. Okay. And that I know people get worse surgeries, but like it was my right hand and I'm ready. That like recovery is so terrible. Just because after I got the surgery, so I have 4 screws in my shoulder.
Really? How's that going through airport security?
No, they're like plastic. They're not. Okay. Yeah, they're like anchors, right? Mm-hmm. They like keep my labrum in place because like it's a reconstructive surgery at that point. Like it can't like re-heal. Like you have to get surgery to heal it. You know what I mean? And just me being in this, like there was like a giant like box here. I had to keep my arm like this. I slept in a lazy boy chair for like 8 weeks. I couldn't put on a shirt for like 8 weeks.
That's brutal.
And I would just sit in my room like every single day. And like honestly, I feel like I just I de-aged in that time frame. So I got like oxycodone, or it's hydrocodone, whatever that's called, one of the painkillers. Yeah.
Oxycontin?
No, it wasn't Oxycontin. It was like hydrocodone, I think. But then, like initially after the surgery, I got Percocet. And
did you take them?
Yeah, and like it doesn't matter because it was medically used, so my parents could get mad at me. Yeah. Like,
were you buzzing?
Percocet was kind of sick.
No, I did morphine when I broke my
oh yeah, I've done morphine before too. Yeah.
Zygomatic arch, and I'm like, it was after the surgery. I'm like, don't give it to me. I don't want it. I don't want it. And the nurse was like, you need this. I'm like, I don't want it. She's like, what about a little bit? I'm like, okay, I'll take a little bit. She put it in me.
Dude, and like you feel the rush of morphine, right? Like when it goes in the IV, you wait like 2 seconds, and all of a sudden it's like a cold rush like goes
so
up
good.
your arm, and all the pain just goes away. And I'm like, whoa.
In the clouds. I was literally in the clouds, and then I was telling her about aliens. And it was great.
Dude, like those drugs are absolutely insane. You can see how people get addicted to them because of the fact that they like actually work. But like Percocet worked, fine, whatever. Hydrocodone is way stronger. Right, because I had this surgery, so like my shoulder was literally like reconstructed. So like my shoulder was fucking killing me for weeks and weeks. Like it would just have pain because it was like I had 4 anchors in. So like you know how your body like will calcify like around when you get screws in like your like wherever your body like calcifies around it like your bones, so it makes it hard, like it's in place. If that makes any sense.
I don't get that.
Like trying to explain. So
like your bones get.
So how a bone gets healed, right? Like it builds like calcium around it.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with the anchors in it, right?
Okay.
So that process when you have like versus when you break a bone, it's just set in place versus when you have like an obstruction, it hurts a lot more.
Yeah.
So like every morning I'd wake up and it'd just be like a sharp pain.
Ugh.
Yeah, which is pretty bad. So I would take the hydros. Only took them for like 2 weeks. And like you just take them and you don't even know like where you are. Yeah. Like not even just like I knew where I was. I just wasn't like cognitive at all. Like I didn't like no I couldn't feel anything. Like there was like everything was just like in front of me, and then that was it. Which was kind of interesting. And then like that was like the rise of THC pens. Like that year was the first year. Remember everyone had like THC pens. So I thought it'd be a great idea because I couldn't fall asleep like at all.
Yeah.
Right, because I was sitting up like this.
Yeah,
I couldn't fall asleep, so I started like doing the THC pen.
Yeah.
So, dude, my brain just became like mush for like 3 months until the beginning of my senior year of school in September. That entire summer, because I had surgery in June, just sat in a chair.
Yeah, it sucks.
So my brain just became like mush.
Your body must have went to mush too,
dude. Like I started going to the gym recently. All right, whatever.
Beast.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
talk
why did you start going? What got you into it?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, that's fine.
Alpha Academy. They know who they are.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Beasts.
So my right arm is probably like a year behind my left arm in like terms of development. Strength. Because of the fact that I've been like this, and I'm not gonna go into jerking off. But
I want to hear all the details about that. How's that go?
No, it was interesting. But yeah.
You use your feet?
Yeah.
Bend over, use your mouth?
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Yeah, so like so when I got back out of the surgery, right, when I put on my shirt, like you don't realize the toll that like prescription drugs like have on you when you do it until after you're done.
What kind of toll did it take?
Like just like a mental toll. Like I couldn't, like I started having like an eating problem. Like I started like there was just like weird things because for a while I was pent up in my room, like just like depressed, not being able to do anything. And at the same time I was chemically like trying to heal myself.
Yeah.
And I know like I don't smoke anymore. It's partially because of like that time period in my life where like I felt like that was the only thing that was going to make me escape like just like the brutality of like having a kind of invasive surgery and like knowing that I couldn't do anything for weeks on weeks. And being that age, 17, I just was like learning how to like just got my license. Like, all my friends were all growing up. It was gonna be our senior year. It was like the summer going to senior year, and like it was gonna be awesome. But then at the same time, like I couldn't even participate in any of that because I was pent up in my room. I couldn't really move. And so and then you combine that with taking prescription drugs, even though like you got it prescribed. I didn't take it for that long.
Yeah. And
then like constantly like doing pens, because the way I look at it, I think dab pens are way worse than normal weed.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially just like mentally. I know a bunch of people like in my lifetime that I will see become like physically dependent on dab pens because it's different than weed. Like I always felt like with weed. It's just kind of the same thing with like tobacco, with like smoking cigarettes and juuling. It's like with weed, like you had to like go. I mean, like now we go to college, like you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But like when we were growing up, a part of smoking weed was like the fact that you couldn't just go and do it in your house. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't just go to the bathroom, just light up a J and be like, oh yeah, like that's fine. Obviously, it would smell. Room. Yeah. So with the pen, like it just made it a lot easier and a lot
do it
more
anywhere,
accessible.
didn't
Yeah.
smell
So
at
there would
all.
be days where I'd just be high 24/7. And if you have like a month of that and then you snap out and then like you have to go back into real life, it's definitely it took like a massive toll like on just like on my head because I was so used to like, you know, being pent up for that long. Like that's why like I like people who are in solitary confinement, right? Like imagine being in solitary confinement.
Yeah, it's cruel.
Like it's one of like the most inhumane punishments and
And
like
that's-
old heads don't realize like how bad that
It's
is because
so
like
messed
humans themselves like need to like socialize, like
We're
one
social
of our
creatures.
biological
That's how we
things.
survive.
And so when I went back into like society for a while, like I was just, like just had so much anxiety for no reason. Like I don't know why I was stressed out. Like it just so happened I came back in, there's so much anxiety. I like wasn't eating, and it took like a long time to honestly get over it. It probably took until like the end of my senior year to really like kind of get out of that head. Like even up until my freshman year of college, like it was a weird kind of situation. Like, and also like for a young kid, like I'm sure for older adults, it's definitely, even though like it probably hurts more with rehab, for a young kid to go through like a pretty major surgery, like it's definitely not like a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
Like,
that
like,
sucks.
because you know you're in your prime of your life. Like you're all more interested in your friends and your family at that point. And you don't want to, you know. But all the people I was talking to was like my mom and like people who would come and visit. But then when people would come visit, I always feel like I was like the charity boy for like,
Yeah,
you know, it was a tough life.
that is
But-
really hard.
Yeah, and I had to miss out on my senior year of football. Like, whatever. I don't really care about that anymore. And I ended up playing lacrosse at the end. But, like, yeah, it was definitely way tougher than I initially thought it was going to be. Like, I should get my other one done, but, like, I don't want to because I just don't want to miss another 4 months of my life for no reason. And, like, when I was in COVID quarantine, it's kind of similar, but in the same way, it was different just because everyone was in it at once.
True.
So we were
You
all in
weren't
the
missing
same boat.
anything.
But, like, when you're the only one that's like out, it's definitely tough.
FOMO,
Yeah, exactly. FOMO's tough.
especially in high school.
Yeah, especially in high school.
school.
Because that's when you're more interested in your friends. Like now, I mean, like, yeah, I would get FOMO, like say if people do things now that like I'm not at, but at the same time, I feel like I'm kind of grown up enough where I have other I have like other lanes and like
You do some self growth.
yeah, like you have to like growing up takes a while. And, like the difference between like a college freshman and a college senior is like massive.
It's so much different. Even I liked COVID because it did give me time to sit and stop for a second and think. You know, I had freshman year, you look at me, I was like a dumb shit. And then I started listening to Rogan. I listened to like every episode for like a year straight. And I learned so much. And I started to ask questions about like, who is this soul? You know, what is this? And I'm like, looking at my life, like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Like, why am I feeling certain ways? And it just gave me time to think, because now we just go.
Yeah.
And you could just avoid all your problems if you want. It's pretty easy to, and I think
Yeah.
most people do.
Yeah, I'd say though the world right now is in a weird place. Like
Oh, it's strange as fuck.
even like because when we did this podcast last year, like we were thinking the world was in a weird place. Like
Yeah.
then, think about
Yeah,
now.
we did last year.
Like
yeah.
think about now, like how different the world is. Even like that wasn't even a year ago. That was like what 8 months
second
ago.
semester,
Like
'cause
probably
it was past January.
Yeah, it was probably like 8 months ago. Didn't get the COVID vaccine then. Now I have it now. Like I just think the world like is completely different now than it was then, and that's not long ago. If you like, it's because we move so fast now. Like the world now is. It's no one really lives in the moment anymore, and especially in our generation, it's more about what's your next move. So no one cares about like current events as much as people pretend to think about current events. Like, for example, what was the name of the Vietnamese city that fell at the end of Vietnam War?
I have no clue.
Like there's a famous picture when the U.S. was like leaving Vietnam,
Okay.
and like the fall Saigon, like that's
Okay.
like
Okay.
you ever see the picture of the helicopter leaving the building
No, I haven't seen
as
that.
the U.S. is pulling out of Vietnam, like
No.
basically because the U.S. lost the war. And I'm sorry.
'Cause-
And
yeah.
and so when the Afghan, like, you know the video of the Afghan plane, like our C
Like the new
18
that
whatever
just
it's
happened.
called. What?
The one that just happened.
Yeah, the video like 2
Leaving-
weeks ago. Yeah, when we were like getting
evacuating.
out of the we were evacuating the Kabul airport, and there was
Yeah,
a bunch of
everyone's
like
falling
Afghan
off.
civilians like trying to get onto the plane. Like it's a very similar like a very similar image, right? But you see, like, the fall of Saigon happened how many years ago now? Like, Vietnam ended. Yeah, Vietnam ended like the 70s. So, like, I know that. You know what I mean? Like, the Kabul thing happened like 2 weeks ago. Like, that initial thing happened like maybe 1-2 weeks ago, and it almost feels like people aren't remembering that.
And like 15 U.S. soldiers just
died. But exactly. It almost feels like people like are just on to the next thing. But if you focus on like history, right? I mean, I have more of an historical brain, so I always look at history more. Like,
that's what we need to.
Yes. So I always kind of feel like our generation is just looking for the next,
because that's how we were taught. The next thing. I was literally I posted this on my story the other day. It was, we train ourselves. I think Alan Watts talks about it. We think of our life as a journey. That's how we're taught. You finish first grade, you go to second.
Yeah.
You finish middle school, high school, college, get a job, get a family. We look at it as a progression. When instead, because that sets us up to thinking, what's next, what's next, what's next. When instead, we should think of our life like a dance. You're not trying to get anywhere in the room. You're just enjoying where you are. And that's how it should be. But when you're programmed like this, how can you think? That's how our brains were programmed to think.
Yeah.
We need to reprogram how we think.
Yeah. I don't. It's just weird because, when our parents grew up, because there was no really like iPhones, Instagrams, and all that kind of stuff.
None of that shit.
So when
strings.
when big, when big events would happen, right? When big things would happen, that was everyone's focus, right? Like, this Afghanistan thing is fucking insane.
It is.
But at the same time, we go down the street, there's a majority of people on our campus that will not talk about it, refuse to talk about it, don't even want to acknowledge it, and just want to move on. They have no care about it. But you see, if we lived in 1950, everyone would be like, oh my God, what's going on in Afghanistan? Like, every single person, because you see all the newspapers and that's all it would say. It wouldn't be like, oh, Kanye West dropped Don. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Don is pretty good.
I know exactly what I'm saying. Like people don't care about like real things anymore. People care about
and it's the distance. It's the distance, because we could literally just stop looking at our phones and we don't see it anymore.
Exactly.
But it's also, what can we do?
Nothing. You can't do anything.
That's
with that situation.
It's like, what am I supposed to do here?
I'm not a military strategist, but I definitely did a lot of research on this. We shouldn't have gotten into that war like initially. Like, after Osama bin Laden, I felt like maybe our job in the Middle East should have been to prepare to leave, not to advance into Libya and Afghanistan and to all these countries that we were there for one reason to take out the terrorists. But in the same time period, we go in and we like kind of like establish ourselves as like a ruling class within these countries. When majority of these people don't want us there.
It's
like
going to someone else's house,
exactly,
and telling them how to live their life.
Exactly. Like, it's just weird because it's almost like it's a very similar situation. What happened with COVID? It's like a lot of people didn't want this. I'm gonna say a lot of people, whether you're on the right or the left, didn't want, their lives being infringed on. Maybe things were going good in 2019. They didn't want their lives to be infringed on. But it ended up happening, and some people accepted it, and some people didn't accept it.
It still is.
It still is happening. Some people accepted it, and some people didn't accept it. And when the thing I don't like about, our generation is that, like, we don't recognize what, like fascism and totalitarianism is, and like what authoritarian people are. We don't recognize it because in our lifetime we never saw it. We didn't see like the Soviet Union. We didn't see that, and our perception of China is different than what it would have been if we lived in the 1960s.
China's fucked.
Exactly. But like, so our representation of, like, oppression is not what it's kind of framed differently than what
you ask people here in the United States on this campus will say they're oppressed.
Yeah, and like when you compare
look at China, look at North Korea, look at literally any other country in this world, and you say you're oppressed. I'm not saying there's not problems in this country, but check your privilege. Check your privilege.
Yeah, no. I mean,
some people probably don't like that, but really look, North Korea.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
they eat crickets.
Yeah.
If they don't cry
did
enough.
you see about the guy who escaped to the DMZ, and he escaped through, and he got through, and he died within like 3 days because he had like literally like worms in his stomach. Like,
this is what happens when they
what
escape.
they do is that they fertilize all their crops with like human poop, and that's how you get
Dude, they have to give their poop to the government.
for fertilizer.
They have to give their poop.
Like, people don't realize how lucky that we are to live in the United States, but I think that luck's running out.
Wait, say again?
That luck's running out very soon.
Of what?
Man.
For us?
Living in the United States.
Why?
For example, like, you know, I don't like to live in the frame that everything in the world happens because I experience it. I go down to Marshall Street, right, to get food. He's telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, we have to increase the prices of everything on our menu. So, like, the chicken, instead of it being $10, is now $13.
Why?
And the fries are now from $7 to, like, whatever, $8. Told me because oil is more money and meat is more money because we're experiencing a shortage.
This is...
And you see, why did this shortage happen? And you have to go back to the fact that we locked down for months, and we didn't initially see the shortage because we have a certain amount of, we have a certain amount of reserve.
Yeah.
But after that reserve runs out, it's not just like it's going to magically reappear because we had no workers. We have a labor shortage, even though we have
and I wonder why we have a labor shortage when you give people free fucking money for so long.
We have a labor shortage. So it just starts at like it starts just like the core things. Like, why would kids like me, if we lived in the 1950s, like I'll say this again, we wouldn't be here, first of all. We wouldn't be pursuing the careers that we would be pursuing.
My career is
We'd
not
all be blue collar workers. Like, most of us, like, because society was so different back then.
Yeah, they didn't have this shit.
Yeah, so like,
they didn't have cameras.
Yeah, so like, why would me and you like in our mind, right? I'm talking about kids like us. We pay so much money to go to school. We do this. Why would we think that we want to go and farm? You know what I mean? Like, because we have no. We would have no desire to farm. We'd have no desire to do this stuff. But these are like necessity jobs that people don't realize we need. Like, you don't need fucking coders to code Instagram. Like that.
No, it's
you
not
can live without it. But the moment we don't have farmers and people like that is the moment the shit hits the fan. So when we run out of chicken, and then whatever, some random faction hacks the biggest meat processing plant in the country. Yeah. We're gonna be dealing with that, even though it says it was neutralized. We're gonna be dealing with that in the long term, just because we were shut down for a little bit. That has a ripple effect. It's like when they hacked the gas too. Like in the South, they experience insane gas shortages.
That's another this hacking. If we think this is a one in, well, it's more than one. They even hacked the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, they gave it back.
One. Yeah, they who hacks takes
I love
so
that.
much money. He's like,
I think that's so funny. Honestly, I love that.
It's just like a big fuck you.
Yeah, it's just a huge fuck you.
I think they hired him too.
The
person who hacked it, they like hired him to work for them. Now.
It's so funny, dude. Like, these are the guys who work for the government, and like they just. I read this thing that a lot of like really, really good coders will not work for the NSA and the government because they aren't allowed to smoke.
Like weed?
Yeah, like they get drug tested.
That's
so they can't pass the tests.
The fact that Biden still hasn't made marijuana legal yet is ridiculous.
Yeah, federally legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they literally cannot pass the drug tests because look at these guys who do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like you've played like Call of Duty and you see like these like insane players like 40 years old. Like these are those coder guys that know every single language and like don't even have to like think about it. They can just do it in like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. Like those guys should be the people in the NSA. But, I'm not saying the NSA is bad, right? Because a lot of people who work for the NSA are probably very intelligent. Mm-hmm. But we're not getting the cream of the crop because the cream of the crop doesn't want to go work for the government because they physically cannot work for the government.
Yeah, the government does sketchy shit too.
Well, the government's sketchy.
Yeah.
And I don't like...
That's not how it should be. The government's for the people, by the people.
The government's sketchy as hell.
And now, the government is so sketchy.
The government is like, it's becoming the movie 1984 just more and more as we keep going on this COVID journey. The book 1984.
I read it.
Yeah, I only Spark noted it, so I didn't read it either. But like, yeah, it's like it's just eerily similar. Like, I didn't read the book, but like I was watching YouTube videos and stuff. It's just eerily similar, like how things are starting to like play out and like how, with all censorship and everything like that. It's just like,
that's our biggest problem.
It's
once
just like
censorship comes into play and they're using fucking college students as their pawns. They just like it's so funny, but it's not because it's scary. Because now it used to be a problem where like you couldn't say shit like censoring was just in college, but now those college kids are in the fields and they're bringing all that shit to the workplace.
Yeah,
it's like, we can't live in a PC culture. Like this is not how it works.
Yeah, it's just not even that. I just think that like I mean. I know I probably have like more of an authoritarian take on this. Like if you're going to be a douchebag online, right? And like, you know what I'm talking about. Like if you're going to like say like actually like douchebag things and like call people bad names, like I'm not talking about like, oh, you're fat. Like I'm talking about like saying stupid ass shit or like, you know, making threats. That's one thing. But like to censor Donald Trump over the Taliban is
Did they
totally
censored him for that?
No, I'm saying Donald Trump's not allowed on social media.
Oh, yeah.
But the Taliban is.
Yeah.
The Taliban stones gay people.
Yeah.
Like the Taliban doesn't let women go work. The Taliban like marry 12-year-old girls and force marriages.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we censored Donald Trump and kicked him off of social media platforms for January 6th, which the FBI just concluded that he had no direct influence in.
It's so stupid. It's just because people didn't like him. And that's my whole thing. I think you can't censor anyone. There's going to be bad stuff out there. Well, you don't have to look at it.
I also think there has to be a happy medium. But then, like, you see, it's not even Facebook's problem to blame. Like, yes, it is because it's their contracting these fact-checking companies to do this stuff. But it's not necessarily Facebook and Twitter as much as we think it is. Like, because they hire third parties to go in and do it. They don't do it themselves. So when, say if like I said something really like crazy right now in this video and it would get blocked on YouTube, no one can see it. It's not YouTube doing it. It's a third party doing it.
Okay.
So YouTube, when you would call them, would have no idea until they like research why it was fact checked. And then sometimes these sources the fact checkers use are literally Wikipedia. I even know in high school, they would physically tell us, do not use Wikipedia as a source.
I used to fuck with Wikipedia.
No, I love
pages.
Wikipedia. But like they would literally tell you, Wikipedia is not an academic source. Don't use it. But then now people are using Wikipedia to justify their like insane radical ideas. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Because you could just change it.
Yeah, you can change it.
Like I saw Cuomo's Wikipedia page recently. It was like, I was like, what the fuck? Like someone really hopped on there and like wrote down like the stupidest crap in like literally 2 seconds. Because people think like that.
Yeah.
Because people want to rewrite history and be that guy, be the asshole to change stuff. And it's like, dude, I don't know. Like, but I just think our government is like, this is where I've started to change a little bit. I will say.
Okay.
All right. I used to be like, you know, this like gung ho, like come from a good place, like, you know, government, like flag waving kind of kid that, you know, never was like questioning what it was. Right. Mm-hmm. But recently.
Oh, wait a second.
What happened?
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, I thought for a second, nothing.
Yeah. For a second, I saw a straight line and I realized because I wasn't talking.
No, but recently I've started to really start calling people out on like their bullshit and being like, something's wrong. Like, so I'm going to say there's 1,000 different political factions within the United States, but let's just say there's two main ones. You have the left and the right.
Okay.
The left thinks that the government is fascist and that capitalism is bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but the right thinks that the government is being socialist and that socialism is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just two completely different interpretations of what our government is right now. Because I could look at you and say our government's a socialist state. We give people welfare and unemployment. Mm-hmm. Like there's universal base income. There's a lot of different things. It's like Obamacare. That's all socialist ideas. Social Security is all socialist ideas. But then people on the left could say, well, no, our government's like brutally capitalist and we need to change that. We're not giving people anything. Like you have banks that are giving like ridiculous loans people can't pay back. Everything's for profit. All media's for profit.
Because it is.
You know, everyone's trying to. Exactly. So we're in a weird spot where let's say 50 and 50% of the country can't agree on what the government is, even though, let's say the left is louder than the right. Because in our generation, the left is louder than the right. But if you look at, you know, seniors, like, you know, the older generation, the right brain is way louder than the left brain. So, like,
well, I think the two sides focus on different problems.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, but just like the idea of what the government is. The way I'm looking at the government right now is that it's completely fascist. And I'm saying that in like the most like sincere way possible, that the US government is starting to become fascist.
Why?
Because fascism at its core is you have the state, right? And the state controls all of the companies.
Okay.
It's not like communism where the workers control all means of production and the state facilitates that, where the state gives you the job and the state owns the companies. You see, like in the US, you have companies like Twitter and Facebook, these big, blue chip companies, Amazon, right? But they're their own private entities, right? How BMW was or how Volkswagen was in Nazi Germany. They're their private entities. But they rely on the government to deregulate or give, tax breaks or to give their personalized regulations through lobbying for these companies to do well. So I'm not saying we're fascist in the sense that we're like euthanizing people and, doing that kind of stuff, because it's a huge differential. And like, I know that's like a very like, it's a hot button thing for me to say to compare the United States to Nazi Germany. I know a lot of my friends are going to give me shit for that, but I will say that there is an aspect of our government right now that is very fascist, and it's starting to become more prevalent because you have these social media companies that are now in contact with the White House. They're now in contact with Congress, that if Congress wants this speech to be censored, right? If Congress asks these social media companies to hand over all of these people from like who they think were involved in January 6th, all of their data.
Is this a thing?
Yeah.
They actually did that?
They want that. They want all their data.
Are they giving it to them?
They're going to give it to them.
No.
Saying like they want all their data. And at the same time, do you think these social media companies are just going to sit back and be like, yeah, we're going to compromise our users and our money base just for, your guys's thing. Given, whatever it was, they look for more incentives from the government to do more things. So it's a revolving door where the government influences private companies, where the government is its own, it's its own state, but it's not like the government owns Twitter.
No.
But at the same time, the government has influence over Twitter. The government gives them tax loops. The government gives them all this stuff in order for these companies to grow. But when the government doesn't like things like small businesses, people who are, not within line of what they want, you saw with COVID that no matter what, if you owned a small grocery store on Long Island, you weren't allowed to open up. But if you owned Walmart, you were allowed to open up because all these people were connected within they all had government contact.
And they were the ones that got the grants. Like, got the money.
Exactly. They all got the PPE loans and everything. And you have people struggling to file for PPE loans, where these giant behemoth companies were allowed to get away with murder the entire time. And still they get away with everything because they have connections within the government. So it's like a two-way game, where I think that our capitalist haven is not capitalist anymore. It hasn't been capitalist for a long time. Think about what happened in 2008 when we bailed out Wall Street. It hasn't been capitalist for a long time. After World War II, we kind of sacrificed ourselves to the military-industrial complex. So since then, all of our tax dollars, it's not even tax dollars anymore, it's just printing money goes to that. So we're living in a kind of like a fascist-esque state where we have companies and the government in bed with each other the entire time. It's not capitalist anymore, where we have companies deciding and just like having free market laissez-faire economics, where it's like this ice cream costs this amount of money, this ice cream costs that amount of money, everyone's going to go to the ice cream that costs less money. Yeah. And it might be the same exact flavor, everyone's going to go to the one. So the market regulates itself. When you have the government stepping in and saying, no, well, you have to sell it at this price. You have to sell gas at this price. It's been going on for years, though. Like the government regulates every aspect of our life, if you really think about it.
So they regulate gas prices?
Look at Joe Biden, for example.
Okay.
Why are we saying in the Eastern Europe that like the Gazprom and the the pipeline, that he's giving the okay for Russia to go in and make this pipeline, right? But then over here in the US, why did he shoot down our pipelines to make us energy independent? So now we're relying on foreign oil. So our gas prices go up. Even though it doesn't sound like he's regulating it, in a way, by cutting our own like energy independency off, it increases the gas prices. So they meddle with it with their policy. And all of them are in bed with each other, so they know when these things are going to happen before. So also I'm an idiot, by the way, so don't like take my advice on economics.
I don't know
I'm
any
kind
of
an
this
idiot.
shit either. So
So when we go in and say we're going to stop the Keystone Pipeline,
okay,
right? That's going to affect our gas prices.
Mm-hmm.
And I know YouTube might even fact check this and say Joe Biden has nothing to do with rising gas prices. But in every way, the administration does, because they're going in effectively and saying we can't be energy independent anymore. We have to rely on the Middle East for oil.
dude, we got to stop. Our first thing is we got to get off oil. I don't know why we're still
Exactly.
using this shit.
That's like, but you see, that's their facade, right? That's the facade. The facade is we need to get away from oil. We have to use clean. We have to do clean carbon capture, which is a great idea in theory. But I don't know if you've seen recently, but like there's a bunch of studies being done that people who own electric cars are starting to switch back to gas. It's not very efficient. And the goal is to make it more efficient, right, with this Green New Deal. But if you look at the Green New Deal, like I did a lot of research on it, it's like 115-page doc, like way more than that, on stuff that has nothing to do, like this infrastructure deal has nothing to do with green infrastructure whatsoever. It's just it's just literally just a pile of policies that Congress had to vote on, and a majority of them don't read, and just say yes or no, whether you're left or right. It's whether you're right, you're going to say no. If you're left or right.
That's why our government pisses me off, because it's all about you're voting for your party. You're not voting for what's the best for the country.
Yeah, and it's been hyperpolarized for such a long time now, even though people are going to say it's just because of Trump and them. When Obama was in office, too, it was hyperpolarized. And then when Bill Clinton was in office, it was hyperpolarized. And when the George Bush election in 2000, it was hyperpolarized. No one, like people literally were protesting for years that Al Gore didn't win Florida. Al Gore didn't win Florida.
Dude, we're so caught up in just the teams. Like, who gives a shit? I want the best for our country. I don't give a shit which side it comes from. And they here, can you put it on that side? Didn't they warn in the past? I forgot who warned. They were like, be wary of political parties, like 2 separate.
George Bush.
Was it
not
George Washington?
George
Washington.
Bush. Could you imagine George Bush said that? George Washington.
He would never say.
He wanted a one-party system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's really bad, and I don't know how
it becomes cultist. Like even like I know people on the right want to be like, oh, well, being leftists or cultists. So are people on the right? Like
everyone is.
Like everyone follows in like their own brain, and it's just funny to see like the hypocrisies between both groups and like how each one of them thinks that they're the ones that are being oppressed and tormented. They're God sent. And they're the ones that are right. And everyone's right. It's like the analogy, like it's like oppressed versus oppressor, and the oppressor is always going to be the one that's right. The oppressor is always going to be the one that's wrong. So when Trump was in office, everyone on the left was like, "Oh my God, fascism, right? Like Orange Man bad." Then when Joe Biden is in office, you cannot literally turn on Fox News to hear anything but saying bad things about Joe Biden.
I can't even look when I follow Fox News on the Instagram, and I look at their stuff. Like, what the fuck? Everything they put out is just slander on them.
Yeah, Breitbart, fucking.
Jesus.
And look, I'm not gonna support. I'm not gonna say the new administration is good, because by no means, I don't care what anyone says.
Stinky.
I don't care if you're left on the right. Like, you have to realize that this administration has made some crucial errors, and recently it's been very much showing. Like, it's just politics now is not about policy. It's just about who can say worse things about other side and stay in power longer. So it's not about actual policy anymore. It's about clickbait, and it relates back to what we were saying before, that like no one really cares about anything aside from clickbait. So it's who can say like the worst things, who is gonna be the one to be like, oh yeah, like this guy's this and like this guy's that, and they kind of like they sit in their think tanks, think what can we say about Joe Biden today that will really rally up our supporters, and they'll come in and they'll be like, oh yeah, he's cognitive. He's like slow. He has dementia. Whether he does or doesn't, Fox is gonna keep pressing on the. Oh yeah, they're gonna keep pressing on the issue, and pressing on it to push that down people's throats. For example, when Trump was in office and like everyone was saying like, oh, Trump's racist. No matter what your view on whether he was racist or not, it became such a household thing that when you say Trump, it's almost synonymous with being white supremacist, even though in his past he won the Rosa Parks Award. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
they were saying it's just people were just starting to hammer home like these ideas that were subjectively true. Maybe they were true to like some people, but not true to everyone. Like there is no truth. But then that relates back to that whole idea that there is no such thing as like real truth. That the truth is always.
Well, there is. I do think there is real truth, but they did the same shit. Someone told me it was I forgot which organization was it, but when the UFOs were coming, when they came, they pushed the word conspiracy theory into it. So then when you hear UFO, alien, whatever, it's conspiracy theory. They've been doing this for over 60, 70 years.
It's all semantics. And recently they started to change the name of UFOs to something else. What do they call it now? It's
they call it some, I don't even know, UTOs or UTPs.
Yes, they changed the name of it so like people wouldn't have the stigma towards it. Like so people would be like, oh, maybe it's something different than aliens or something.
IPs, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, it's funny how like they change the names to everything's like every few years, like everything's like a different.
Even the guy
different phrase. Like for an example, like you have like illegal immigrants and undocumented immigrants. Mm-hmm. So like it's literally the exact same thing, but people just like choose to say illegal immigrants versus saying undocumented immigrants. And like I'm kind of the stance like no human is illegal, right? Like like this like dude, if I lived in the 1980s, I would be considered liberal left wing. We live now in the age where being like centrist.
Is that thunder?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Being like centrist and like having more conservative physical values but liberal social values is like Republican now.
Yeah.
And then Trump is far like there is no like far right is Republican now. Whereas like Republican was Dick Cheney like 10 years ago.
It's weird how it shifts.
It's just so funny how like it's the bar is pushed so far to the left now where like being ridiculously left wing is literally being like Stalin, where like being like right wing is like being Hitler, right? Yeah. It's just so funny how like me being like just wanting to be myself, just having different views. I know like maybe we don't agree. It's like I like see abortion as like a need for society. But like maybe you would disagree with me and say like no, but like we can still agree on that. But then at the end of the day, we're still gonna vote. Like I would still vote red if I feel that the person is right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not this type of person that's gonna sit here and be like, no, I have to keep voting Democrat because I personally think the Democrat Party is the most corrupt party in history right now. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that. But I have liberal beliefs, but I wouldn't even remotely be considered liberal.
I think the problem is it's putting ourselves in categories.
Yeah.
Like
there's no individualism.
But it's hard. Our country's so big.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to run a massive country like this? Like it's easy. It's not even easy to run this house.
Yeah.
Like it's hard.
It's just a microcosm of just society.
It is. And we see it. It's just, we still haven't figured out how to run a civilization well. And I was thinking about this before. Like, the United States could fall. Every empire has fallen.
Yeah, the Roman Empire fell.
The Roman Empire fell. Like what makes us think that we're different? And we're still trying to learn what the best way to run all this smoothly is.
Yeah, because no matter what, there's always going to be disparities. There's always going to be problems.
Like, we forget about that. We think this is it. Yeah. We think this is it because this is all we know.
Yeah. Or okay. For like an example, right? Like so, New York City has their vaccine mandates, right? And you have to get a vaccine to go in a restaurant. Okay. And people want to talk about systematic racism, all this kind of stuff. I want to hear people talk about systematic racism when they talk about vaccine mandates. Because in New York City, the majority of people who aren't getting vaccines are people of color. And Joe Biden related to the Tuskegee experiments, whatever the reason is, I have no problem if you want to get the vaccine or don't want to get the vaccine. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to live your life. Like, live your life as you want to live your life.
It's your choice.
It should not be a color issue.
No.
But at the same time now, so let's say the biggest population of people who aren't getting the vaccines in New York City are people of color. Mm-hmm. Now they're not being allowed in restaurants. Like, why is that a thing? That's literally segregation in every way. But it's painted out as like a liberal thing that you don't get. Like, if you get your vaccine, like it's like a liberal thing, so it's not segregation. But like Bill de Blasio making that order is completely and utterly like systematically racist.
And it makes
because you're just putting people in boxes and saying, oh, you can't go in here, when a majority of people that don't have their vaccine in New York, like in the New York area, might be minorities. So it's unfair to do that to people because first of all, you're forcing people to get it's not an experimental drug anymore. It's approved by the FDA. So it's not an experimental drug anymore. So I don't want to hear that bullshit anymore. Oh, I'm not getting it because it's an experimental drug, because it's not.
FDA approved.
It's FDA approved.
But my side of it, even from the race thing, it's just we gave a choice to the people, you can either get the vaccine
Yeah.
or you don't. Okay?
Mm.
You get it? Sweet, you're safe. If you don't, you're still at risk. That's your choice.
Yeah.
Why is it supposed to be now you can't get dinner?
Yeah, you literally can't go in a restaurant.
That's
you literally
ridiculous.
You can't be served at a restaurant.
That's ridiculous.
Like, how is that? I don't understand, like, how we've regressed as a society so much where, you know, in the 1960s, people literally marched miles around the country to fight back on these issues where, you know, colored people weren't allowed in restaurants, colored people were allowed to drink at the same water fountains as white people were, right? Exactly. So then why now all of a
60 years ago? That's ridiculous.
Like, why all of a sudden is that like a thing now where even though it's not by race, it's by whether you get the COVID vaccine or not. Like the same virus that has so much around it. Like, how is that like okay? Like, how is that okay that Syracuse is gonna like require all of us to get COVID vaccines, which is fine, whatever. But then the people who refuse to get it, they're subjected to getting tested every single day. So now these people are literally delegated to second-class citizens. I wrote about this in my class last year. Like, people are now delegated to being second-class citizens again. Because now, we knew the vaccine. So we can go out to class and we don't have to get tested or do anything.
We still have to wear masks.
Yeah.
Inside and outside.
Yeah, that's true. But we're not subjected to their testing. We're not subject to being on their records, having to provide documents to them anymore. But all these people that, for whatever obligation, maybe they had an immunocompromised thing, they aren't getting the vaccine, right? They're now being subjected to getting tested and constantly getting things shoved up their nose and everything every 2 days a week just because they didn't want to get this vaccine. Like, why? I don't understand, like, why that's, like, the norm. Like, why is it the normal that we're just forcing people into boxes?
So, I don't know if you know, but are vaccines when we're kids, like the meningitis shot, is that required?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is this any different then?
I think it's different because I think people think it was too rushed.
Okay.
But also there's so much money behind it, and I don't think it was too rushed because we have so much modern medicine these days, or I don't think it was too rushed.
It is pouring.
I have to walk back in that.
I'll drive you home.
Thank you. I just think that, like, people are just hesitant from it. Like, I just don't. I also think that, like.
Well, meningitis too. Like, these are polio vaccines. That kind of stuff is just, well, you kind of want it. But the COVID vaccine kind of reminds more of a flu.
Exactly.
You know,
like,
and we don't mandate a flu virus.
Yeah.
And it doesn't kill people. Like, you get it? The people that die from it are the obese, over 60, unhealthy, at-risk people.
Yeah, and also a lot of people in their death certificates died with COVID, not of COVID.
Yeah.
It's a weird kind of disparity. And, you know, like when the New York Post, I remember, was doing an audit of like some COVID deaths in New York, some guy fell off a ladder, and then this might be a complete like extrapolation. Like some guy fell off a ladder and died of COVID. Like, and it was counted as a COVID death.
Did they get money for that? Didn't like hospitals?
Yeah. So
get
every
money for that?
every time someone would go into a hospital initially, like with COVID, the government would give them like $12,000 because at the time everyone was hesitant to go to the hospitals. Think about how crazy that is. I could have broken my fucking leg in March of 2020, and I would be terrified to have gone to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like literally terrified, and I probably wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
I had to like push off necessary surgeries because I didn't want to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like
it's weird.
Like people like had to get like cancer treatment and stuff like that. Like we're worried to go to the hospital.
That's
because of COVID.
I don't know what to do with this stuff. It's like we have all these problems, and it's just like, what do we do? Like, I don't know. It's
because we're living in the age of as Pitbull said. I will quote Pitbull on this.
That concert was so
it was.
Much fun.
Pitbull is a big inspiration of mine. Anyway, as Pitbull says, we live in a generation of followers and likes, right? Don't be a follower. Don't be a liker. Just be yourself.
Yeah, Pitbull, Naya, tonight.
Nah, Mr. Worldwide's the best.
He's awesome. You cannot go to any other concert and have so many people dressed up as who you're going to see perform. Like the amount of people I saw in bald caps and sunglasses was ridiculous.
Dude, he's like one of the leaders of the Cuban like movement, right? Like he's a big time Cuban. Like he loves Cuba. Well, he loves the Cuban people. He doesn't like communism.
Fair.
most people shouldn't. Anyway, he like got on like this YouTube thing and was talking about like how people in Cuba like appreciate that shit, like how he exaggerates all his words. I thought it was so funny. And like how like that's how Florida is like so red now, because Florida just totally flipped, because you have all these people, like all these immigrants who came from Cuba who aren't the same, like who have different values than some immigrants come from other places, just because that they grew up in a world where it was communism. So when they get shown ideas that were reminiscent of the Cuban regime, they're all gonna be like, no. So that's why that's why Florida flipped so Republican. That's why you had the highest Latino Republican turnout in history in an election. Like, and like people on the left can like freak out about that, but it's because they've seen what happens. Like, it's just it's insane that these like, you know, liberal elite types want to sit here and act like they're just stupid. Yeah. Like the people who vote red are just stupid. Like it's literally just, it's an insane misconception. These people are just sheeps and they're stupid. Like, you're gonna call an entire like millions of people stupid.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't make sense. And I was thinking about this last night, and I think if everyone's educated and has the proper, what are you texting?
Sorry.
Come on, man.
Sorry about that.
We're together right now.
Sorry about that.
I'm with you.
Sorry about that, man. I run a business.
Yeah. You run a business? What?
I'm the vice president of Interfraternal Council.
Okay. That's fair. I'm just giving you a hard time. But I was thinking, if everyone's educated to the same degree, we would all make the same decisions, right? Pretty much. But there's places in the world like Appalachia where you can't even get, because who's teachers, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to go here to teach? Like, if you go to New Jersey, like, you're not going to have.
Yeah, because we were blessed with the best public schools.
Exactly.
Right? In the Northeast, we have the best public schools. If you look at the list, it's all New Jersey, Long Island, Massachusetts schools and Connecticut schools. So obviously, like, we have an edge.
So how do we fix that? And I think we're going into a very awesome time for this. Virtual reality. So this was my idea. Facebook has this thing where they want to have meetings in virtual reality where you put your headset on and you're there. Why can't we do that with schools? So these people in the Appalachian Trail, all they have to do is get a headset, because you can't learn through a screen. Like, we all learned through COVID. But if you can go to this place through virtual reality, we all see how crazy it could be.
Yeah.
And you can learn. You could learn from the best teachers in these schools, everywhere in the country, everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
We would grow so much as a society, because now not just the East Coast or the West Coast is going to be educated, or the wealthy.
Yeah.
Everyone can be educated.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I just feel like there's a little problems with that, because I also think a part of education too is going to education, right?
No, but now you're virtually in.
I know, but I have a predisposition to like reject that stuff, because I'm so like, I'm the kind of person that's so, I need to be there. I need to do it. I'm a hands-on learner.
Have you ever seen Ready Player One?
Well, but that's like
we're getting there. That is what Facebook's working on. That's what they want to release.
Look, my girlfriend's like family owns a virtual reality place in New York City. I've done virtual reality a bunch of times. It's not real life. It's not real life.
It's getting there. You think it's not going to stop improving?
I know.
That's the next phase. The reason movies, TV, video games, the more, like, even theme parks, the more immersive they are, the more people like them. So the more immersive you can make it, the more money you're going to make, and the more popular it's going to be. And we see it in everything.
Yeah, but why are we trying to replicate real life? Like, why don't we
people
just
like to
life?
Escape real life.
I know, but why do we try to like make a utopia life with technology? Like, I saw that Elon Musk was that new like
the robot.
He was saying how like the robot's gonna like take over all like the jobs that we don't want, so we could all just live in like a utopia where we don't have to work.
Does anyone see the problem with that?
Like, and I was like, what the, like, we, first of all, like, that's just so unfeasible. What are we gonna?
He's gonna make it in a year.
Yeah,
what are we ready in a year?
Like, so we're gonna have farmer robots.
We're gonna have robots do construction work, or not construction, factory jobs.
So what about us? Like what happens to us? Like,
this is another thing. I don't know if I saw it or dreamt it or whatever, but it's, why do we think we're the end goal of
we're inventing our next,
like, why do we think that we are just the end all be all, like, we deserve to be here, this is what the plan is? We could just be here to create whatever's coming next, and that's That's what's the main thing.
Technology world.
It honestly, that's the direction it goes. And when you make these robots that are literally human body type, and they're going to be smarter than us, obviously, and stronger probably.
Yeah,
And
they don't have like depression, anxiety, drug addiction.
They don't have. They're immortal.
Yeah,
they're literally immortal.
Yeah.
So, and we have our bodies, and our souls,
and they think at frame rates that we can't think at,
and they can communicate.
Yeah.
With each other through the network.
It's a different life.
And then if they could start making their own, well, shit.
Yeah, like we'd just be phased out. And
we'd be phased out.
And all these things look at things as the most, like what will happen is that they don't have consciousness. Like they don't look at things in like an emotional aspect. Look at everything in what is going to be the most beneficial way and what's going to be the easiest way to do things. So why would a robot that has more like processing power, is stronger, can, build things faster, and why would they have any use for humans?
Yeah. But they're looking at that. There's a study on consciousness and the amount of neurons in your brain. I don't know what the results are yet because they're just doing the study. But someone argues that the more neurons you have, like the more consciousness you have.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. Like what they're gonna do. Like they're not gonna have brains. These things. Right?
Those processors.
But if you can replicate, but the processors, like all this shit replicates how we work.
Exactly.
So
they're going to get smart enough where they could find more efficient ways.
I don't know. I don't get that stuff.
Like they're going to end up being smarter than us where they're going to find out, oh, it's actually more efficient to do it this way.
I wonder if consciousness will come to them the more advanced they get.
It's terrifying.
It is. Because you can do a thing, like this is how some programs work. It starts off, like there's the chess robot.
Mm-hmm.
It started off making moves, like it beats all the grandmasters.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a move and it learns from its moves, and then it gets better and better, and the more it plays, the more it learns, and the more it can do things. So if we use that on like a robot or some fucking AI, like this human ass thing, and it's learning and it's experiencing, and Elon Musk wants to make these robots so you could touch them, or no, not Elon. What's his name? He has a podcast. He always wears a suit. Lex Friedman, who works at the Boston or Massachusetts Institute of Technology or whatever. No, that's MIT. Boston Robotics. Some shit in Boston with robots.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to make these robots so they could touch and feel, so they know what it's like to be human. And he said that on Rogan. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like, have you ever watched any movie ever? Like, that's the worst idea ever. He wants them to know how to be human. And the people he worked for were saying, like, no. Because it doesn't make sense for what they want to do. Because they're just supposed to make stuff. Like, they don't need to feel human. That's just a waste of research and a waste of money. So he's, like, leaving them and working for someone else. And making them feel.
I swear these people are, like, actually, like, eugenists. Like,
holy shit.
That was a giant thunder.
Yeah, this is God just saying, fuck you guys. Stop
Fuck
making
you guys for
robots.
having a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
The power's going to cut out.
Yeah.
This would be so stupid.
It could.
If the power cuts out,
we'll still be good.
We'll be here. Wait,
yeah,
really?
We'll be. Yeah. Oh. Everything would just stop charging.
No. Well,
actually, this would die, so we'd kind of be out. Hopefully, we don't lose power.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Like, China can get so advanced where they can just turn off our power.
Oh, yeah. They already can.
Yeah, so can the U.S., though. Yeah. I'm very confident in, like, our military spending and our, like, massive, like, intel community and our massive, like, NSA. Like, yeah, come on, NSA. I love you guys. Anyway,
you're the best. Because they could hear everything.
Yeah. I'm confident in their abilities that, like, they've installed enough malware in, like, all these countries that, like, if China wanted to even think about dropping a nuke on, like, San Francisco or something, like, the U.S. would just be like,
I honestly think
I'll have to do some random coder, like fat guy. The way I think of like those guys is like, you know, the OG gamers, like fat guy. Like, you remember
Fedora,
the South Park episode, like people who play like World of is it World of Warcraft or Minecraft, where like they get so fat and all they do is just play computers. Like Cartman did it, like all he did was just play computers like his mom was. That's what I picture these coders be like. So like this guy with like a ponytail, like disgusting person just goes in and like they get an order from like Joe Biden, like shut them down. Shut them down. And all they do is just type in like a code, and then all of a sudden China just goes dark.
Yeah, but I think we're past like weapons like nukes and stuff and guns. I think we're going into bioweapons.
Yeah.
And like this gene drive, I don't know if you heard about it, but genetic engineering is scary as fuck.
Well, yeah.
They are literally...
China's making the super soldiers.
There are super soldiers, and we're doing the same thing here. You can go to a clinic, see your embryos, and say, oh, this one's going to have blue eyes, this one's going to have brown, this one's going to have blah, 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 blah. This one's going to have blonde hair. Which one do you want? This one's going to be male, this one's going to be female, and you get to pick. And you say, I want blue eyes, I want brown, I want this, I want that, I want that. What
you see in some people look at that and they're like, oh, but we're making the most efficient humans, right? But then at the same time, it's like, well, then, like,
what do we think the effects of this is going to be?
If everyone's like,
the same, and our genes are all the same, we have no diversity, no genetic diversity, then one fucking plague will wipe us all out.
Yeah, like then the potato famine.
Yeah.
No, I'm confident in our securities. Like, I do think we still have the best military in the world.
Oh,
like,
we spend the most money.
Yeah,
right?
we do still have the most influence in the world. Like, I'm pretty confident that if a country really wanted to fuck with us, like, it wouldn't even be like a thing. Like, it would just be like, oh, China wants to do this, right? Like, fine, China wants to play like this. Bing, bing, bing. They don't have any water.
Yeah.
for billion people, no water.
So fucked up. How can we do that to them though?
No, I know. I'm saying.
I know, but
that's almost worse than like a nuke in some ways.
Yeah.
Because like a nuke, it's gonna be the fallout, and the fall will end up affecting China.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the U.S. goes and shuts down China's like dams, and the water just runs through and just destroys cities, and they shut down their electricity, where they just put them back in the Stone Age. Like it's like the Minecraft achievement. Like you just regress.
That's the thing. We're one world. I really do think we got to stop looking at ourselves as different countries with different people, because we're all the same, just in different places with different governments and how to run our things.
Yeah.
We need to get past that. We really do.
Are you a one world government guy?
I don't know the best way to do it. I think you could have different governments because different places are going to need different way it operates. Like this Syracuse operates different than Colgate. Colgate operates different than South Carolina. It's different, and you could have different governments, but you don't see Syracuse saying you need to run like us. You should be like us. You can do differently, and I don't know what the best way to run a place is. I don't think anyone does.
Yeah.
But if we can get a bunch of smart people together and start thinking and saying this is how we do it, but we should not be going to war with different countries but we kind of do need to, because North Korea, the people that escape to China or South Korea, they go to China, and when they get caught, like Chinese hand them back over, and they watch as the North Korean soldiers put wires through their collarbones and fucking put them back like cattle to North Korea, where they're obviously going to be executed when they get back willingly. Yeah. And we know what's happening in North Korea. We've seen people have escaped. There's people in the U.S. telling their stories, how fucked up it is. And we're not doing anything, because if we fuck with China or fuck with North Korea, it's fucking with China. Yeah. Because they want North Korea there, because they don't want it to be a democracy, because we have South Korea, Japan.
North Korea is like their bargaining chip.
And what's it called? The thing in between. It's not a barrier. It's a gap.
Like a peninsula?
No, it's I don't know the fucking word, but it's an in-between place between like our democracy in Japan and South Korea and their communism shit up there. Yeah. If you know what I'm saying.
Dude, Japan is like very like authoritarian. Like like South Korea is too. Like not in like the terms of like inhumane, but like they have really strict rules over there. Like you can't they're very strict with how they like operate. Like they're more of like like South Korea is like a very strict like capitalist society. Like they're very straightforward, and like they're more conservative than the United States will ever be in these places.
They're racist too. Oh like when they hear North Koreans, you could tell by the accent, and they like
no, like they
spit down.
They're so like I'm not trying to say conservatism and racism is the same thing at all. Like this is not what I'm saying. They're so conservative over there. their version of like conservatism is so different in the United States now because their whole lives have been in the McCarthy era. Like, because the U.S. built those countries. The U.S. built Japan. We wrote their constitution.
Yeah.
So like their whole like government structure is so conservative. Like people aren't allowed to really have freedoms. Like it's weird. Like that's why you have so many like suicides in Japan. I'm not saying capitalism is bad, but there's so much suicide in Japan because there's so much pressure on their kids to perform this way, and there's no change. There's nothing no one's allowing the system to change. It's been the same system for years, and Japan is a big GDP, but there's social problems within Japan that's major problem. That's why the U.S. is a better system than Japan, because Japan has never changed anything. They've never adapted to what modern society is. They've had the same system since the McCarthy era. So, like these places are so right wing. They wouldn't even like. It's just like it's hard for us to rationalize how right wing these places are because we think of China as being authoritarian because. They're way worse than South Korea in many ways. South Korea is bustling. It's like a beautiful place. And there's people who like do a lot of things, dress certain ways and have stuff, but they have a really strict conservative policies. Like they're like a country that is very traditionalist. So is Japan. Well, so is China too. But that's why I say China isn't communist because it's not. It's just authoritarian and fascist. Like it's not even communist because they're so conservative with what their culture is, where they don't allow for any diversity or any change. They're like 95% Han. That's their like genetics, and they're 95% Han. Look at what goes on with the Muslims there. They literally hide it from the world. Yeah. Like they're so culturally conservative.
That. How are we not doing anything there?
Dude, it's a blockade. You can't.
But like, if we do believe in human rights and that's what we fight for, how are we not doing anything? It's money. That's why we're not doing
because
anything.
U.S. because there's no such thing as like a U.S. company anymore. All these companies are multinational. So these companies know that if we go into China, they're losing on a major market.
Yeah, this is there's a server on Minecraft where people go in different countries to learn. Like it's
no, I saw the library.
The library.
Like so people in China people in China can't read all these books, right? So there's a library in Minecraft that people have it's like almost like a Wikipedia kind of thing. It's like a utopia where people go and they like record all these like books in Minecraft, and you can go to it and like read a bunch of stuff that like is banned in like your country, which is so cool. Like that's awesome. A high point. That's a high point of my.
Thank you, Minecraft.
See, but that's Minecraft. Like we can't sit here and trash Minecraft because that's been a game that's been around for so long awesome. And it's timeless.
Minecraft.
It's so timeless.
I love
Minecraft. They always they find ways. Shout out to Notch. Shout out to Notch. Dude, like people I picture like are just coders is like Notch.
Yeah.
Like Notch is like the guy who works the NSA. It's like
just Cody.
And then Notch is the guy who listens to our like conversations and takes us off of Mindplex.
Yes, Mindplex.
We said the wrong things.
Yes, but I was thinking different countries, once we get to a certain point where everyone's like not killing people and stuff, that would be so cool if there's different governments, right? So you could, once you get educated, everyone has the same base education. And then once you're knowledge, you say, okay, I want to live under this rule. Like I like how they work as a society. I want to live here. Like I'm going to go to China and live in China because I like how they work. You know, I think that could be good.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
I mean, that's so far out. Like that's not going to happen.
These places, like it's like Japan, Korea, China, like they're so like culturally conservative where like they don't like immigration at all. Like,
yeah, but once we get to the point, I don't know what that is though. Well, where does that come from? Like, I don't get it.
Why wouldn't you for another world war in that case? Like,
I know.
Do you see what, like, to relate back to like what the U.S. can do, like our capabilities? Like, I was like literally with my friends in the car. We'll never say their names. And like they're showing me like a Trump TikTok, and he said something like, "If I was president, like he said something like, if we really wanted to go in Afghanistan, I have a plan that we can get it done in 10 days. We'd probably kill like 60 million people." He's literally said, he's like, probably kill 60 million people. That's why we don't do it. But if the U.S. really wanted to go in Afghanistan, we could take over that place in 10 days.
Yeah.
And the U.S. has a 10-day plan. Just take over Afghanistan.
That's ridiculous.
If we chose to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so funny that like Trump came out to say that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just to flex on like all these like foreign governments. Like if the U.S. really wanted to go in and take over countries, we could if we wanted to, but we don't do it because of the amount of carnage that it would cause.
It would.
Dude, the carnage that would cause if we took.
That'd be wild.
He was like, he said we'd bomb off the face of the earth. Like he said something like that.
We definitely could.
That's why like no one in the international stage like fucked with the U.S. like during those years, because like everyone knew like Trump was such a hothead that like if something happened, we just send like a drone strike, boom, straight to your house. U.S. is the capabilities of Space Force. What is Space Force?
Dude, we agreed to not go into space and claim it or whatever, build in it. And then we broke that, and now like China's in there, Russia's in there.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going to space. Like that was supposed to be free.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Yeah. No.
Now it's not.
It's just so.
China's
funny,
making their own international space. Now it's I guess it's not an international space station. Now it's a Chinese space station.
Yeah.
Then there's gonna be a Russian space station, and it's a shit show.
Space Force. So it's like Reaganomics, like Space Force. What was the Reagan policy? Like they were trying to build like a just a giant network of like missiles in space that like if like any country fucked with us, you'd just be like
blow them up.
Like, dude, but like that, it's like funny because like Trump didn't really get us into war or anything, but like whenever there's like a problem in the Middle East, like remember the ISIS leader, I forgot his name, Soleimani, I think his name was.
He has a crazy name.
Like yeah, and Trump like literally took about like 2 seconds. Like,
yeah.
They knew like it took us years to find Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
They found this guy in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally all of a sudden Trump finds him. Okay, let's go in. Bam, drone strike. That's it.
Dead.
That's the capability of the United States military that we don't realize.
They could see through walls.
Yeah.
Like the satellites, they can see through walls.
Did you see
and they could hear through everything.
Did you see the modern Russian military suits?
No.
So Russia's like equipping their entire military with these new like military suits that can withstand 50 caliber bullets.
Oh fuck.
They have like almost like VR like goggles that like they could just like you know, ever play MW2 and like we see like our loadouts and stuff on the screen like Call of Duty, like that is what like a modern soldier is gonna have.
This is Black Mirror. Did you ever see that Black Mirror episode where the soldiers had those visors or whatever?
Yeah.
And instead of seeing the people that they wanted to kill as people, they saw them as like monsters.
Yeah.
So
I see what you mean.
So they could kill them,
dude,
without feeling bad.
If we replace soldiers with robots, right?
RoboCop.
Like if we just replace soldiers with robots and like we fight wars with robots,
That'd be kind of sick.
and like everyone had like their own like computer screen, like dude, we would be so much farther ahead than every other country because we have so many good like PC gamers, dude.
At that point, PC gamers.
You know that
we do. But if we start fighting wars with robots, like, what's the point?
There is no point.
Like, what the fuck are we doing? Let's just play a game of COD.
Yeah.
Like, what?
We just, like, a war is settled between a quick scope match at Rust.
Yes.
Whoever has the most fire trick shot wins.
That's the world I want to live in.
Dude, fuck. Because, like, our generation has, like, a weird, like, just, like, a weird, like, numbness to war because we didn't like see war like our grandparents saw.
Yeah,
war.
My grandpa was in the Korean War.
Yeah, we didn't see war. We have no idea what war is, and we play video games that normalize it. We play video games that normalize throwing a throwing knife across a map and seeing if it can get someone in the head. Like that's that's funny and sick. Like that's cool as fuck. Like you know what I'm saying? But like in real life. Imagine we were just on campus. Like if you put this in real life, we're on campus. Someone from Lawrence and Hall, across the map throwing knives. Like one of us walking out of the house.
Like oh my gosh, like, good throw, man.
And you see, and the kill cam comes. I was like,
yeah,
and it's a silent shot.
Yeah, right into him. Yeah, shit.
We're just so numb to like the horrors of war and just like the horrors of the real world.
Are we numb to it, or are we? Because I know in COD it's not real.
Yeah.
Like if I saw a throwing knife here, I'd be like, fuck, that's
I know.
Brutal. Like that was
But if we're conditioned for so long to think that that's just normal, it's like that's fine. It's like it just doesn't make any sense. Like now kids are getting younger, having iPhones and stuff. Everyone's just conditioned to see things at such a younger age, and like so everyone's kind of trying to like find the next like most shocking thing, and eventually we'll become the Romans, where we're gonna have like Colosseum battles to the death.
Because at a certain point, when you have all the pleasures in the world, the only thing that gives you that gratification is pain.
Yeah.
Like seeing that gruesome shit is the only thing that got him off anymore. Because when you have everything, you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of there's a Twilight Zone episode where this guy dies and he's introduced by what he thinks is like an angel or whatever, like showing him around, like, oh, you could have everything you want, like whatever you want, you could have it. And he lives the life for like a week or a month or a year, whatever it is. And at the end, he's like, this, like he starts going crazy, like, this is terrible. I hate this. How is this heaven? And the angel is like, or whatever it was, he's like, whoever said this was heaven, he goes, and it goes, Twilight Zone, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's true. When you have everything, you don't get fulfilled by this stuff, like the sex, the orgies, the fucking Romans, them and their orgies. They did so much
too.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Like I saw something. It was like, because like in ancient Greece, like being gay was like high society.
But it wasn't being gay. It was just they were just fucking guys.
Yeah, they just like they didn't understand.
For the pleasure.
Like they just didn't like. There was no idea of like gay as like a sexuality. It was just like
you just fuck guys because you like the feeling.
Like that was it. You know, like that was what they did.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that like now it's like it was like so denormalized. I'm not saying like whatever. It was so denormalized in like the Middle Ages and like after that and like, you know, like modern society. Where like, but like back then, it was just like a thing.
It was, and
like Plato and Aristotle just have like just like
dude,
screw parties like, all the time.
I read Plato and Aristotle from like ancient philosophy class, and you see in it when Plato has his talks with younger kids. He's like, "Oh, you're so cute and fine. I just want to put my wiener in your butt." Like he doesn't say that, but he like they loved young kids, like young boys.
It's just like,
but it was the pleasure.
You know, that's another thing.
That's
another thing in Afghanistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, did you see the New York Times report about that?
No.
Okay, so the New York Times did a story in like I forgot what year it was that, you know, in Afghanistan it's like normalized, not normalized, but like it's a thing that like our allies, by the way, not the Taliban, our allies in Afghanistan, like would like have sex with like little boys. Like that was like a thing.
That's tough.
And our soldiers were physically told not to do anything about it.
That's fucked.
Like so in the U.S. we have standards, right? Like our lives are different in the U.S. So let's say a kid our age goes to, you know, Kabul, right, to go serve in the Marines, and he sees this stuff go on. Obviously, he's going to think it's wrong.
Yeah.
And if they did anything about it, they would literally be like court-martialed and like sent home.
Dude, that's so fucked up.
Like, and the New York Times like blew up this story that it was just like it was happening in Afghanistan. And our soldiers weren't allowed to do anything about it. That was a thing. The Taliban's not for that. The Taliban execute people who do that.
That's good.
So so I'm saying,
what the fuck? I don't know.
So I'm saying like there's some like,
dude, that's fucked up.
Like that's still a thing. That's like in the world that is still a thing.
And that's going back to like Greece, and then the Bible came out saying like the butt stuff like no good. That this comes back to the pleasure thing because they weren't doing it as a sexuality.
Yeah,
they were doing it for the pleasure.
Yeah,
which that's one of the things God's like. It's a pitfall. That's Satan. When you act on instinct and pleasure and that kind of shit. Like that's what they're saying don't do. Yeah, because the Greece was like 3,000 years ago, and then the Bible came out, which I think is weird as fuck. Like Plato was alive before
the Bible, before all that stuff,
before the New Testament, which
before the Romans,
wild,
before like Augustus and Caesar. Like you think that's all the same time period? No,
just not.
Plato was around like 300 years before, 400 years before.
It's crazy.
And before like Caesar and Augustus and all these people like that, you know.
That's just
and it's still like it's so crazy how like those societies are so relevant in today.
Dude, you look at what they wrote 3,000 years ago, and you're like, holy shit, they knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, because like I think our like modernist modernists like we don't believe in. We think those people are from the Stone Age.
Yeah,
there was major events that happened during that time period that set us back thousands of years.
What do you mean?
Like the Middle Ages sent humanity back thousands of years.
Why?
Like so, the Roman Empire had like everything. All the fruits that the world could have. Yeah. They had clean plumbing. They had
sewer systems.
Yeah, they had sewer systems. They had plumbing. They had water, food. They had everything. They had a government. Well,
slaves.
dead slaves.
No blood, no good there.
Yeah, but I'm saying they had like that society was a society. So when the Roman Empire collapsed and we went into complete dark ages, all of that knowledge was gone. So we had to rebuild that knowledge to now. Yeah. Like that's why I think that like a society like Atlantis could have existed. Humans have been on the earth for so long that why is it us that figured out? Like why is it us that figured all this out? How? Because you look at like you look at the pyramids. You look at these places like they obviously figured something out. They're not idiots. They obviously knew math. Like I saw recently that Pythagorean wasn't the one that developed the Pythagorean theorem. It was actually the Sumerians who did it. So like there was knowledge that's been passed around for years
before,
we had to rediscover it.
I'm with you 100% because you see the way stone is cut in Italy, like across the world. It's a certain way that is so advanced that they couldn't have done it without. And there's this theory that's not widely popularized, but they were on Rogan a while ago, and they were talking about there was a meteor crash 12,000 years ago. And this meteor fucking wiped out a lot of shit. I'm trying to remember it entirely. But pretty much Atlantis, like Aristotle said, Atlantis was a real place. And we don't search the ocean at all. So why the fuck would we think that they're not down there? But also, I'm not setting the... Fuck, I wish I understood this more. But there could be more civilizations that were advanced. I don't know what I'm trying to fucking say.
No, I know what you mean. Like
I'm trying to remember the argument. I'm just not.
And also, I saw a thing that was so in masonry, there is like a certain point in architecture, like when you're like building stuff with stone. Like, there's a certain like stress thing you have to put into buildings to make them, right? Like there's a certain like part of a stone they have to put into a box. And there will be like a stone in the middle of these 4 bricks that like, unless you have like an understanding of architecture, you would not know that was a thing. Yeah. And you look at the Aztecs and even the Romans, they both knew that. And neither of them knew each other existed. Yeah. So they both somehow knew that. The Egyptians knew that, and so did the Incas. How did they know that existed? Yeah. If they were completely isolated from each other, how did they both figure the exact same things out? And have the exact same ideas of architecture and the exact same ideas of how to build things and how to build things, have modern like farms, have plumbing and all that stuff. Then when we get back to the Middle Ages, then you have people literally shitting on the ground again. Yeah. Like people are getting executed like constantly, like, and you had the plague that killed like half of Europe's population.
Yeah, but there's literally even the pyramids. Like those are everywhere. They're off the coast of Cuba, and underwater. There's the sphinxes. They have all these temples that are so perfectly built. Like how did they do that?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And they like dated the Sphinx back like another thousands of years. They thought it was one time that they built it, and they were like, oh, because the erosion in the side came from, it wasn't like wind erosion, it was rain erosion, which goes in a certain path like this. Like wind is this, rain is that. And they're like, this is like another 12,000 years older than we thought it was.
Yeah, because it didn't rain. Like it rained back then. There.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me too. Like that's how long humans have been around, and like we didn't know about it until like recently. Humans have been around for that long. And also like I was thinking about this too. Like who are we to say that the Sphinx wasn't just like this giant like advertisement bullshit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how come everyone's on the page like, oh, the Sphinx is like this major religious thing in ancient Egypt? For all we know, it was like literally like us going to like
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Golden Arch.
Like some stupid bullshit. Like we have no idea what it actually was. Everyone just assumes everything's religious for no reason. Yeah. But I mean, probably they were religious
for something. It definitely meant something. There's no way to put in all that time.
And they all worship the same gods. Isn't that weird? Like not saying they all worship the same names of gods. They all had polytheistic religions, though. They all had the same theory about the world.
I don't think they knew enough about the world, though, because they worship like the sun god and the rain gods. Well, because if you don't know how like the sun works, the rain works, because they don't have that. That's where we have technology where we could say, oh, thunder happens when heat and cold meet and make fucking friction or some shit. I don't know, but we knew that now. Back then, it's like, oh, what's this?
What's the thunder?
Where's this thunder
Like
coming?
you hear that thunder crack.
Yeah.
We lived in like ancient Greece.
God's pissed.
We'd be like, holy shit, Zeus is mad.
Yeah, he's pissed. What did we do? What did we do wrong?
We had to go execute 3 kids.
Yeah, but they still made the calendar was made like which civilization was
Mayan
it?
calendar.
Yeah, that was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And but there's also this civilization. What is it called? But it's so advanced and it's like underground and like someone buried it intentionally.
Oh, in Turkey. You talking like in Turkey, that one?
I think so. I forgot what it's called though.
Well, it's not the Chinese one.
No, and they got like these engravings that are so advanced, like they're like out. So,
No,
you know,
I understand what you're saying.
you know, they're not like they're like pop-up stickers,
Yeah.
kind of. You know, they come out. So they did the stone, like they cut everything around it to make it out, which is just they didn't have this we didn't think they had this technology. It's very, 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 very strange. Oh, but for the meteor thing, like 12,000 years ago, people right now, the theory in like anthropology is that like woolly mammoths and all this shit got wiped out by humans when we came in. But that doesn't really make sense because how the fuck did we kill all these massive beasts?
Yeah, if there's only like 12,000 people in the entire world.
Yeah. So they think like the meteor crashed and they found the meteor site too, where they found it. So they think it like put us, I don't want to say wrong shit here, but there's something that happened and it wiped out the creatures and all this shit and like changed how, fuck. I wish I remembered.
We went into an ice age.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that like all that stuff is just it's just like impossible to comprehend as like modern people. Like could not comprehend it because it just does not make sense to us. Because like ancient Greece would never make sense to us. Their architecture is so much different than ours. They're modern. Yeah, like in ancient Rome too. Like how did they make that?
The Colosseum.
How did they make those? How did they make those columns?
Beautiful.
Like just the
So
random
cool.
things. Like how do they even make that?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't. I'm sure they could make that today, but like it would take years to make that, and the planning would be so long. Like how do they all just consciously just be like, yeah, fuck it, let's make this Colosseum like the most massive thing ever. Like let's make it insane. Well,
They put boats in there.
Yeah, I was about to say they flooded it to have boats.
So cool.
That's sick. Like how do they even think of that?
And they
stuff?
even had like tunnels underneath it, so like they could get in or travel. I forgot. I went to Rome and they were telling us about it, but it was like to transport like gladiators and like fighters and the royalties, so they can get in the Colosseum without going like in the streets.
Be with the steerage.
Yeah,
dude. I don't know. I wonder what our lives would be like if we lived in like the Roman Empire.
I mean, if we weren't slaves, probably pretty good.
I mean, we're both Italian.
Yeah,
I think we'd be fine.
I think we'd be fine. Yeah, I mean, the lower class kind of lived pretty shittily.
Oh, 100%. They didn't even live like a normal life.
Yeah, so
the life expectancy back then, I have no idea actually how much it was.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I know life expectancy in the Middle Ages was like 40.
Yeah.
Like, and if you lived past 20, like you were like,
I think it was pretty old.
golden.
I'll look up what the life expectancy and
you were golden if you lived past 40 in the Middle Ages in like in medieval England. Hey, Chep.
In Roman Empire, am I looking up? In Roman Empire. All right, let's see. All right, life expectancy at birth was a brief 25 years during the Roman Empire. It reached 33 by the Middle Ages and raised up to 55 in the early 1900s. How is it 25 years? That's young as fuck. That's so young. Oh my gosh.
Dude, we'd be old heads by now.
Yeah, we would be. We're like, we got 4 more years left.
Yeah, that's it.
That's wild.
Dude, but the fact that it took that long from the Middle Ages to the 1900s to increase, like, how the fuck is that possible for that long? We could not figure out ways to make life better.
Yeah. And now we're just making them longer and longer.
Yeah.
They say someone who was just born is going to be the oldest person ever.
That's insane.
Like we're going to start living so long.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. Well, because you take out a lot of the variables, right? Like, because the safety of like modern society is like kids aren't getting like polio, kids aren't getting like all these insane diseases with all these older vaccines. Then you take out the murder rates, like not everyone's like you're not getting killed. There isn't as much war, like so in modern society, like we take out all the variables. So like people are dying from like normal things versus dying from like accidents and all that kind of stuff that would happen in the Middle Ages when someone was. I think we might have talked about this in the last podcast, like how there was two politicians in like the U.S. that had a duel. It was like
Hamilton and
who was it?
It started with a B.
Buchanan.
No.
Like they just had a duel. It was just a normal thing.
Yeah. They just dueled, and then the guy shot.
Everyone
Hamilton.
just had like a fucking like pocket musket, and like. And then they have a political disagreement and be like, yeah, like,
fuck you.
And then they just pace back and turn fire. I think the whole etiquette was, like, you weren't actually supposed to kill someone. You're supposed to shoot over their head.
Or, like, up in the air, and he was just nailed him in the head.
He was just a dick, and he was like, yup, you're done.
He was a dick.
And the bullets back then were, like, just, like, balls. And, like, sometimes you wouldn't die. Like, you would just be, like, enlarged in, like, your, like, lungs for years.
That would suck.
Yeah, dude, that's, like... That's some crazy shit that was not that long ago. Like, in terms of human history, like, that just wasn't that long ago. Like, right now, if that was still a thing, like Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi just go out and duel.
They would duel. It'd solve a lot more problems.
I guess. It'd be like a must-see. And then, like, you put a modernist aspect to, like, must-see TV pay-per-view tonight. Trump versus Nancy Pelosi duel. Be sick.
There's some stupid fights. Like, isn't Paul fighting again tonight?
I'm so hyped.
Are you? I'm kind of over it.
No.
Is it the same one that keeps fighting?
Oh yeah, Jake Paul versus like an Xboxer, I think.
I just want him to get his ass whooped.
He's not going to.
You think he's good?
He's a beast. No, I don't think he's that good, but
I don't.
It's all for the show. As
it is a
Paul
show.
Says.
It is a show.
Don't be a follower or a liker.
Yeah, dude. It's just all that kind of bullshit. It's just fucking. It's stupid to me. I'm like, it's just for money too.
Obviously,
like it's just such a fake fight. Such a fake fight.
I'm kind of hyped though.
Are you?
Wow. I have a fantasy football draft. Aside from that, yeah, I'm looking forward to Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul fight action. I think I got the Giants are on.
I mean,
today.
His brother owns like the most expensive Pokemon card ever. So
no, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Really?
He owns like 3 of them.
What?
He owns 3 Charizards. Like 3 like OG Charizards that are like $1 million, like 100. I forgot how much. It's like $200,000 each.
Why does that? What? Why? It's a fucking card.
No.
For a game.
You don't get it though.
You're right. I don't. And it's the same with these. The same with these NFTs.
Yeah, but that's BS. Like that's.
Well, what the fuck's the difference?
That is true.
It's a Pokemon card.
I know it is true, but dude, there's only like 10 of them in the world.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
I want one. If I was rich, you heard it here first. If I become a billionaire, I will have the most expansive Pokemon collection in the world.
But like, why does that matter? I don't understand. Because I'm not much better. I have Mighty Beans.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved collecting Mighty Beans. But you better bet your sweet ass I'm not paying fucking $250 for a Mighty Bean anymore.
I was having this conversation like with like one of my relatives, like talking about like whether they should invest in gold and silver. I was like, to be honest, if you just buy like old baseball cards, I guarantee they retain their value more than silver would. Dude, like people have like $1 million baseball cards.
That's ridiculous.
Like there's the Honus Wagner baseball card, I think sold for like $10 million. I might be wrong on that. Sorry if I'm wrong on that. Sold for like an obscene amount of money. Like what the fuck? Yeah. A baseball card sold for that much money.
That's
and
stupid.
Maybe someone in this room has an expansive baseball card collection, and I dare you to come and find it, government or whoever wants to try and rob me, because it's not on me. I don't have it, but it's somewhere.
You got a baseball card collection? Expansive?
We got we got the Mickey Mantle card, but not like there's one Mickey Mantle card. I think it's 1952 or 3. Whatever his rookie year was. The rookie Mickey Mantle card is like $1 million card almost.
Damn.
Yeah, if it's like the most pristine card, like it's like $1 million baseball card. We have the one the year after that.
That's dope.
Could you imagine? Yeah. We literally have the Mickey Mantle card that is a year after the $1 million Mickey Mantle card.
That's wild.
Given if ours gets graded pretty good, like it'll still be worth a pretty penny.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was the Mickey Mantle card, like I'd be a millionaire. I'd have a net worth of like $1 million.
You should talk to Lodier.
Yeah,
with
no,
Sports
I know.
Connection.
I know.
They got that. They do that stuff.
It's
They
just
literally
like-
have a business of just baseball cards.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
and
it's
trading
insane,
cards.
yeah.
Like how is this?
It's
How is this
insane.
a thing?
It's insane, dude.
Talk about necessity.
Rich people have so much money they don't know what to spend it on, and also people have so much cash they need to get rid of.
That's like Long Island, or not Long Island. Well, I guess it is in Long Island. The Hamptons. Just fuck you money.
Yeah,
It's really just fuck you money.
it's literally just like, yeah, I don't need this Range Rover, but like I have three, I'm gonna get
make
one.
it anyways.
Like, yeah, I don't need this Lamborghini. Obviously, there's no road in the U.S. that has a speed limit above 65. But at the same time, maybe I will get the Lamborghini that goes 200 miles per hour for no reason.
What is the point of that? First of all, why am I getting a ticket when I go over the speed limit when my car or these cars are made to do it? Like, why
It's the
can it
system.
go 300 miles per hour? Why is it my fault that I go 200 miles per
It's
hour?
the system. But I mean, also, like, that's so dangerous.
Why do people? Well, I don't do that. But why are they making these cars so fucking fast? Like, make my car go 80 miles per hour. That's as fast as I need to go.
Why does Tesla have speed upgrade packages for $10,000?
Why are you gonna go that fast? Where are you gonna go? wait, we don't. It doesn't make sense. Why are you gonna go that fast? You're never gonna go that fast.
It's awesome, honestly.
It is really cool. That's probably why. It's just because
That's
it's
such
cool.
a big disparity. It's like, yeah, my fucking grandma's Honda can go like 100 miles an hour on the highway. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why did they make that?
My Tesla could rip 500.
Yeah, dude,
and go
so
0 to 90 in 1 second.
Yeah, so sick though.
It's so sick.
Now imagine every single road had no speed limit.
I was talking to Van about this, like the autobahn or autobahn.
Oh, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Autobahn, however you say it. He thinks they should make one in California in the flatlands from San Francisco to I think it was LA because it's just flat. And he's like, people spend a shit ton of money using private jets for a 45-minute trip, but if you go make like a no speed limit, go as fast as you want, I think it would be fine.
Dude, but every collision would be a death. Like every single collision.
But that's your choice. You don't have to go
guess.
on it. That's your choice if you're
guess.
going in there.
I guess, but it's just like if you're going 100 miles per hour and you hit someone head on going 100 miles per hour.
Well, you wouldn't be hitting them head on.
Well, that's not true.
How? How would you hit someone head on?
I've heard a bunch of stories people get into car accidents where someone gets on the wrong side of the highway and then just boom.
Well, don't get on the wrong side of the highway. That's your first
Don't be-
mistake.
yeah, just
don't be an idiot.
Yeah, no. This driving is insane. Like, there's a lot of the car accidents happen all the time. There's a
They
whole
do. It's
industry
really
behind
scary.
car accidents.
What do you mean?
Like auto body shops are just made for car accidents, right? Like,
Yeah.
like insurance is made for car accidents. Like, there's just industries that are set up because of human error.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the self-driverless cars?
I think they could be really good. Like, honestly, I think they'll obviously like decrease traffic. They'll decrease, death.
Yeah.
But
But there have been some accidents
Yeah.
that caused death from Tesla.
Really?
Yeah. Someone I don't know who's looking into it, but they're being investigated because there's like 14 or 13 deaths from self-driver.
Damn, I didn't know that. But like at the same time, it's just gonna get better.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what Tesla's doing too. They have this new project, I think it's called Dojo or some stupid shit like that, where it's pretty much like we said, the robots learn. It does that, and it's its own system. So they're going to start releasing, like every few weeks or something, a new update to the car that, like the whole system, like every single car learns and reports back. It's like it's a loop.
yeah.
And then they revamp the system like every few weeks. It's just constant updates.
Yeah, no, I saw that like the main goal of like having autonomous vehicles that everyone would have one. So all the autonomous vehicles know
Where all
that
the
all the
ones
other
were.
cars were.
Yeah.
So then like we wouldn't have the human error problem. Like you would know that this car's in this exact position at this exact time. So like you could brake at that moment. But there's been like things I've
Then what
also
about
seen
deers? You know?
road kills me a major biz.
Yeah, because they're also, I think Tesla's working on a thing too, where they're going only with sight. They're starting to make stuff just that runs off sight. So instead, because the roads, the idea behind it is the roads are made for our eyes. They're not made for these sensors and all this other shit. So they want to be, okay, well, if that's what the roads are made for and that's how we function, we're just going to use cameras and whatever it's going to drive through the cameras.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
But then at nighttime and when it's foggy, that's where they're kind of running into problems.
Then that's God right there, though.
Yeah.
That's God. God's being like, fuck you guys.
Yeah,
Like,
idiots.
Fuck you, Elon Musk. You
Yeah.
can't do this. And then they just put fog in front of the car. And
Yeah. Elon's having him and Bezos are a little love relationship.
Love hate. Did you see
Love-hate.
that? You see that? Bezos' company is suing the government because the government gave SpaceX the contract
NASA
instead of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And Musk just came out saying Bezos retired from Amazon to put all his energy on fucking with us. Because he's such a sore loser. He wants to be the main center of attention, and Elon just doesn't give a shit and is way better than him. And Bezos is pissed off.
Jeff. You think a
From
guy that
Bezos
looks like that would
and
control the
Lily.
entire world?
No. This guy's weird.
He controls the entire world. Every facet of production is Amazon.
Amazon's pretty big.
Amazon's
doing good things.
like unconceivably big.
Yeah, and they're just growing. They literally started as a book company. That's
Yeah.
the wildest thing. They were books.
Now they have web services,
What are the web services?
like cloud stuff. And you're asking me, there's no Amazon Web Services is like a branch of Amazon.
Okay.
And then they have like, they have everything. Like the Ring.
That's the guy who made that graduated from my high school.
Really?
Yeah, he came back to talk.
He's like a billionaire.
Yeah. And
That's so sick.
He came back to talk, and I was president, so I introduced him. And then he was like, this guy, like, I want to be this guy, because everyone was clapping. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Thanks, man.
Hit him up for a job.
I don't want to work for that fuck. He was actually a really nice guy. But
Then what do you think he does after getting bought out by Amazon? Probably, if I was
Nothing.
him, I would just be like, all right,
chills.
yeah, see ya.
He made the most genius idea ever.
Yeah, if I was him, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to go sail into the sunset and have fuck you money in the Hamptons
Yeah.
and spend like $100,000 on a car that I'll never drive.
I don't know if I'd want to do that, though. If I had a lot of money, I don't think I'd do that.
Well, have fuck you money.
I don't. I don't think I'd use it like that.
What would you do, though?
I would have a very average home.
Mm-hmm.
It's comfortable.
Like Warren Buffett.
What does he do?
He doesn't look like that he's that rich in real life.
That's probably what I'd do. And I'd probably use my money. Like, I'd make sure my family's set first. And then I'd use my money to hopefully do good.
I have a Floyd Mayweather lifestyle. I've convinced myself that if I had that much money, like, I'd have everything I could have.
Fair.
Because if you have the money, like, fuck it, why not? Like,
As long as I don't have to worry about going out to dinner and worrying about if I have enough money to pay for the check, like, I don't care. Like, I'll use the other money. I don't know.
dude, I would
To
have
do
a
good. Like, if I had that
boat.
money, I would be doing what Elon Musk is doing, but I'd give it to smart people and say, fucking figure out the energy shit. You don't have to worry about it. Make this. Figure out the food problems. Do that. I'd figure out how to do shit and make it. Like, I try to make it so we could progress as a society.
I would just live off it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would buy like a massive house. I'd buy a massive like if I had Jeffrey Bezos kind of money, I just live my life like as big Jeffrey Bezos. Like what did I have? Well, because you could have everything in the world. You make $1 million a day.
If I did have all that money, I'd probably make an Iron Man. I'd have someone make me an Iron Man, and I would go fucking be Iron Man.
That'd be so cool.
How much fun would that be?
That'd be so cool.
I wouldn't use it to like fight anyone. I would just use it to go fly around.
No, you'd end up becoming Tony Stark.
That'd be so sick.
Dude, like that would be so sick. And like you just go into the Middle East and just find terrorists and you become Iron Man.
I am Iron Man, but I'd make it out of something stronger than iron.
Well, vibranium.
Yes, I'd use vibranium. That would be so much fun. Oh,
dude, go in the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I was
Did you
gonna
see
ask.
the Spider-Man trailer?
I was literally just about to ask you about
Did you
that.
see the Spider-Man
It looks
trailer?
so sick. It looks so
dude,
good.
If the next, so it's a teaser trailer. If the next trailer comes out and I see Tobey Maguire's face,
I might
lose it.
I'm debating. Do I watch the trailers or just because I know the movie's gonna be sick? They don't need to sell me on it. So do I want to be totally surprised by it, or do I want to see the?
But
trailers?
You see that kind of stuff, like you need all of the media you can get. Like you know what I mean? Like when I watch those movies, I watch like probably an hour worth of YouTube just commentary.
I'm so excited. My friend Liam Crowley, he works for the MCU Direct. He has a podcast. His shit, he's sick. He's awesome. He gets to go to all this stuff before. And he like writes like posts about it. He's really cool. But I'm just Marvel has so much shit.
Yeah, but you know this is the last Marvel. This will be the last Spider movie in the MCU, right?
Why?
Does
it go back to Sony?
Yeah, they're turning into a Spider-Verse.
Wait.
They're gonna connect Venom into Spider-Man. Tom Holland's still gonna be Spider-Man. This is the last.
Sweet.
I think this is the last movie that Tom Holland will be in for Disney.
Honestly, good. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse be better. Fuck Disney.
Like, because you saw Loki, right?
Yeah, Loki was dope.
Yeah, Loki was sick. Like, Loki was easily way better than WandaVision.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even finish WandaVision. I couldn't even bear myself to get through it.
Loki was so sick. And so, like, it just kind of set up the second half. Like, I don't even, like, I'll have to end up seeing Shang-Chi because, like, I have to follow the storyline. Yeah. But I'm not as interested in that movie as I am with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's good because they have Doc Ock, fucking awesome. They have Sandman. They have maybe Venom. Or it could have been...
No, it's a Green Goblin.
Or Lizard.
Lizard's in it. They're all in it.
It's going to be...
It's
the Deadly Seven.
Okay, I'm going to plug this guy
What is it? What are they called? The Seven?
Sinister Six.
Sinister Seven, yeah.
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six? But Venom, too.
I don't know.
He's not a part of it.
I don't think so.
Is he going to be in the movie?
No, not this one.
Damn it. I love Tom Hart.
Ed Hardy. No,
Tom Hardy.
I think it's Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy. He's Venom.
Ed Hardy.
His is sick. Who the fuck's Ed Hardy?
That's like the DJ Pauly D T-shirt.
Bro. Oh, really? Me and DJ Pauly D have the same birthday.
That's cool. He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Dude, like all that stuff that's coming out. Like I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, the MCU's going to be different though without like Robert Downey Jr. in them.
Yeah.
But just like there's a lot of new movies and new shows that are set to release that have been just marinating because of COVID for so long. Like the new Sopranos movie that's coming out. Did you watch Sopranos?
I think what I'm gonna do is because I did the same thing for Entourage. I watched the Entourage movie when it came out, and it got me into the show. So, and I know this is a prequel, so I'm gonna watch the movie and then watch the show.
Yeah, but you see, the show will give you like the background information.
But I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch the movie. This is kind of what I did for Star Wars too.
It took me, dude. I watched that show like recently. I watched it again. The whole show. It took me like a month.
Really? It's so much.
It was 45-minute episodes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I watched the first like 2 seasons, and I kind of just like didn't really get that much into it.
The movie, but the movie looks sick because the characters, like the amount of people that are in it. But when I'm talking about that, did you see the
Joey Diaz?
Yeah, did you see the House of Gucci trailer?
No.
The Lady Gaga movie that's coming out?
No.
The cast is ridiculous. It's like,
what is it about?
It's about like the Gucci, like the brand.
Oh, okay.
I think there was like some kind of scandal in the 70s. I didn't do any research about it because I want to learn from the movie.
Yeah.
And like the actors alone, it's Lady Gaga. I'm not gonna say she's a good actress. She did win an Oscar, so I guess she is a good actress.
Yeah, Star Wars Born is a good movie.
Yeah, Lady Gaga is. I think she's gonna be the main character. Like she's the like the main. Jared Leto, Adam Driver, Al Pacino. Wait, there's more. There's one more. Well, either way, like that's already insane. There's someone else too that their cast is ridiculous for that movie, and they all have to speak in Italian accents. The entire movie, yeah.
Let's go. Al Pacino,
and Adam Driver looks so funny too. Like he's like a '70s Italian guy, like in the trailer, and he's like thick glasses and like long hair. He looks so funny.
Oh my gosh.
And Jared Leto like has to get like fat for the role too.
Really?
Yeah,
he's gonna get fat.
Different. Yeah, he looks. So
How is he? But he's still the Joker, right? So how's he? Because Joker's got to be pretty skinny.
Yeah, no, but I don't think
he's done filming for that.
Yeah,
stuff?
I don't think he's still Joker anymore.
I like Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, well, he's the best Joker.
Way better.
Yeah, he's the best Joker. I mean, also, well, yes, but then also the Dark Knight Joker. What's his name?
Yeah. How am I forgetting this right now, dude? My brain is just not working right now. No. How am I? Hugh Jet? No. I don't know.
We both know what we're talking about.
I don't get how I'm forgetting his name right now.
Yeah, same.
This week has been.
Yeah, no, it's been a tear.
It's been a long week.
And then also Peaky Blinders is coming. There's another movie that I'm trying to think of.
I'm still just so pumped for Spider-Man. I love
Yeah,
Spider-Man's my
Spider-Man.
favorite superhero.
Dude, there's a lot of movies coming out that's like, holy shit.
Did you see the Black Widow one?
No, I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
I had no desire to watch
I
it.
don't either.
Like, I just kind of felt like it was not necessary for the Avengers plot. So I was like, eh.
Oh, Eternals.
Oh, Eternals.
That's coming out.
Yeah, Eternals too. I guess I'll watch it.
I guess I will too.
I'm interested in the Spider-Man movie. That's about it.
Spider-Man will be sick. I'm pumped for that.
And Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that one's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with Marvel, they're honestly starting to lose me. It's very hard to be a casual fan anymore because you need to know everything.
You need to watch every single thing.
And it's just.
But dude, that's a part of their like thing. They try to make so much money.
I know, but yeah, because then you have to see everything. But do you watch Suicide Squad?
No, I didn't see it. I heard it was really good.
Fucking sick.
Well, because James Gunn directed that. He directs all the Guardians of the Galaxies too.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I watched it not expecting it to be good because DC sucks. Mm-hmm. But I watched it rated R. It was funny. It was action packed. It had a good plot. They skipped. I was watching the beginning. I'm like, oh, they're gonna go through all this intro on the characters like they did in the first one. I'm like, I wish, like, I know what's going on. Just show me. Just get into the movie. And that's exactly what they did. Like, right when I thought that, the next scene was like, you know how this works. John Cena was pretty funny. And the whole thing, too, they set up this whole cast for I don't want to spoil it.
No, but I know, I saw a lot of things about it, though.
Yeah, they had this whole cast for the beginning, and then they all just died.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I'm like, what?
Wait,
Harley Quinn survived.
Oh yeah,
she was the only one, but everyone else, it was just it was like a whole 20-minute setup for these characters. They get in there and they all just get bopped. It was so good, but that's the beauty of DC, because Marvel is very kind of like family friendly. They're not going to push the borders, but DC can be dark and gritty, and that's how they are in the comics. And I think they need to capitalize on that. Like, I think it's so cool how you could just kill someone off. Like, they're never going to kill Iron Man until, like, it was his time.
Yes, in Avengers Infinity War, Iron Man dies, and so does Captain America, but in a different way. I'm spoiling for everyone because if you haven't seen the movie yet, fuck you.
Yeah, you're not a real fan. You don't care enough.
I'm going to spoil this. I'm just kidding. I won't spoil this.
Well, I saw how the ending is. Everyone knows the ending.
Christopher.
Don't say it. Don't. Because I am going to watch it. I am going to watch it. Stop. Bastard. Spoiling this shit.
I'll say things out of context.
No,
AJ.
Stop. You're just saying characters' names.
But now you're thinking, like, what could possibly have happened to AJ?
I don't know, man. I don't even know who it is.
Dude, it's just so funny because, like, some of those guys just became those characters. Like, I forgot.
Vincent Chase.
Yeah.
Well, he was from Entourage, but I just saw him. He's in a new Netflix movie or Apple TV movie, and I saw him like, that's Vincent Chase from Entourage. Like, I don't know his real name.
Yeah.
But I can't watch this movie now because it's just gonna be Vincent Chase.
Yeah, Michael Imperioli went on Joe Rogan. That's Christopher Moltisanti in Sopranos.
Yeah.
He said something like it was hard for him to get roles after Sopranos right away because everyone just looked at him like, that's Christopher. That's him. Or like James Gandolfini too. Like, even though like he died, like, but like when I saw him like other stuff, I was like, no, that's Tony Soprano. Like, you can't because it's like shows. Like, it's more for shows than movies. Like, they become those characters. Like, same with like Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
he's Harry Potter. Like,
he
can always be Harry Potter. And like, even though Robert Downey Jr. has been in so many more movies, like, he's Iron Man because he's been an Iron Man for so long.
It's Iron Man. And he kind of plays the same character in every movie too.
Exactly. Like, I think it's just tough. It's tough for like someone like Christopher Moltisanti to play a different role. Like, because how do you go out but Jamie Lynn Seeger, like the girl she was in Entourage and in Sopranos.
Which one was she?
I don't know her character name in Entourage, but she's Meadow in Sopranos.
Is she's brown hair, beautiful? Sloane. Definitely
It's probably her, yeah. She was in Sopranos too.
Yeah.
So like every time I see her in other movies, I'm like, oh, that's just Meadow Soprano. Like, that's not so and so. Like, every time I see the movie or something, it's like, no, this is that or that. I guess, like, I'm trying to think of like a good actor that's been able to like transform different roles. Leonardo DiCaprio does a good job of that. He's
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
He's none of his characters because he's just such a good actor.
And Matthew McConaughey is just Matthew McConaughey.
All right. Yeah, he's good. But these people, a lot of the characters, lot of people, actors get pigeonholed into, if they blow up for one thing. When people are casting, they're like, oh, they did well in this.
Yeah.
Like, they're not gonna put him in a different role.
Isn't that what happened with McConaughey? Like, so in the beginning, he was like a rom-com actor, and he like quit acting for a while because he was only getting rom-com gigs and didn't want to do it. So he waited and waited and waited for a long time just to get like another gig. And I forgot, and it might have been Inception, it might have been my God, the Matthew McConaughey movie, Christopher Nolan.
Oh, Interstellar.
Yeah, it might have been. I think it might have been Interstellar. It was like his first movie that wasn't like a rom-com-esque movie. And like now he gets casted for movies that aren't like that. But like because he was cast for the Wolf of Wall Street. Like honestly though, he was the perfect casting for that role. Good. Like I know it's not just Scorsese who does all this stuff because his crew must be so good.
Yeah. To
like do all the casting and wardrobe and like score movies. Like they're so good.
They're really good.
Like it's not
effort.
just
it's
Scorsese.
Not just him.
He just is the face of it. Like obviously he's gonna be a good director, but his crew and team like must be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't himself, he can't go in, direct a movie, then sit there and post for hours
and
just
editing.
Score an entire movie.
Scoring.
Like there's no way.
He has a team to do it.
Like,
but he definitely like supervises it.
Yeah, 100%. He's definitely involved in all the like production. But at the same time, like he's like that whole crew must be ridiculous because their sets alone, like, and the Christopher Nolan stuff too. Like that crew is ridiculous.
All these like big. I'm so pissed. Quentin Tarantino's only making 7, or how many movies is he making?
Oh yeah, he's like only making 2 more, right?
Yeah, one more, I think.
One more. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool though.
Dude. But it's the prime of his career, and he's stopping because he doesn't want to make a shitty movie.
Cool though.
It's cool, but fuck you. Everyone's supposed to have a fall. That's the point.
He's like a Hollywood like historian though. Like I think he knows. Like he's like calculated his whole career probably. And, like he knows like he can't go this way. Cause like dude, and the stuff that he puts into his movies is so ridiculous. Like for Hollywood, right? Isn't the name of the movie?
No.
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, like I was watching an interview with him. Like he just went so in depth in like what he wanted the movie to be, like, like knowing about like spaghetti westerns, like random things, like he just like knew about every single thing of Hollywood history. Like everything in his movies are so like,
and he hates Bruce Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so
like he painted Bruce Lee as like such a dick.
Yeah,
it's just so funny because like in his like historically, like he was like a dick apparently. Really? Like he wasn't a nice guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he got a lot of backlash for that.
I know, it's so funny too.
And he still stands by it, too.
Yeah. No, but he's like that, though.
He doesn't give a shit. He does what he wants. I like Quentin Tarantino. He's funny.
Yeah.
And he makes such good movies.
Apparently he's really into feet.
Really? Dude, all these people have such weird things.
I know. Yeah, no, all those, they must have, like, Spielberg's set is, like, ridiculous. They must have so many. Like, when they hire people, like, they probably hire, like, the best possible people to come on and do that stuff.
Even if, I also think, it's the way you work as a team.
Yeah.
You could get the best of the best, but if their personalities and their work ethics don't match, you're not going to get anywhere. And film and TV is such a team-oriented thing. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Everyone needs to see the same vision.
Yeah, and it's not just, and it's funny because it's not just the director. Like, it comes down to, like, the AD and, like, the producer and, like, as far down even to the PAs. Like, I'm a PA, so obviously I'm going to say that.
Beast.
But, like... It comes down to
get
like
me coffee, little bitch boy.
Exactly. It comes down to like that far down. Like I'm sure those sets are probably ridiculous, and they probably work the most insane hours on those movies.
But it's probably a good environment.
Oh, it's awesome.
You don't produce
it's so
shitty
much
stuff.
Dude, it's so much different. Like when I was interning for the Mets this summer versus like when I work for freelance production jobs, like let's say for Viacom. Like the people are just so different because it's like, yes, it's corporate, but also everyone's creative in their own way.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have their own, like everyone's interested in it. Everyone like wants to see what's going on.
That's the only way it works.
And that's just TV. Like in movies, like everyone that's involved in it is very much involved in it. A lot of people in other industries do it to make money. Yeah. Like in film and media, like people are interested in it.
You could see that. That's what this pisses me off. Like you could tell when a movie is made for money.
Yeah.
You could really tell.
Like a Disney movie.
Like a Disney movie. And that's why I'm like not as really into them anymore. But you could, they still draw me. They still get me.
100%.
Because if you're making a movie just to make money, you might as well make it fucking good.
Yeah,
like,
you might as well
make it
throw
good.
Tobey Maguire in there and
make
Andrew
it good.
Garfield in the Spider-Man movie. Yes. And I swear to God, if Marvel does not have them in this movie, because I've been hyping myself up that they're going to make cameos.
Because they said in the trailer, you heard him, that he goes, "Hey, Pete."
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. Hey, Peter.
They think he's gonna say it to Toby, but if you're making a movie for money, at least make it good. But I like the movies that they make it because they're interested in it. Dude. Those are the best type of movies.
Yeah.
For me.
Dude, the budget in those Marvel movies.
It's ridiculous.
It's like on actors alone.
It's so crazy.
With that movie, like Tom Holland, I can't imagine how much they pay Tom Holland.
Probably a shit ton. He's the man.
Well, he's
I
a
love
contract,
Tom.
so
I
it's
love
different.
Tom Holland.
Like I'm talking like if they want like fucking Andrew Garfield to come on for like a cameo, like I'll pay you $100,000 just to come on for one scene.
That's crazy. Wait, so what were you doing at the Mets this summer?
Just a virtual internship program. Learning about baseball.
Beast.
Yeah.
Do you even like baseball?
I grew an appreciation for baseball.
You got the cards. You got the cards.
No, I do like baseball, but I'm more interested in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why. Like I focus on soccer as if it's like
you
a
do
religion.
like soccer. What's up with Ronaldo?
Yeah, he's going to United.
Why?
Going back.
Money?
I don't think he wanted to be. No, not really. He's getting paid less. He don't want to go back to Juventus. Yeah, he's going back to United, which is kind of cool, I guess.
That's where he started.
No, he started at Lisbon, but
he played most of his time at.
He basically he came to United as like a young kid, right? Like he like an Mbappe figure, this kid is gonna come in and like be like a legend.
Mm-hmm.
He came to United, like won everything, then went to Real as like a star.
Yeah,
but like he became a star at United.
So now he's
going back as a legend.
That's pretty sick.
It's kind of a cool storyline.
That is.
That sells so many jerseys. Like good for them. Like Ronaldo, it doesn't. I mean, he has more money than God. So what does it matter for him? Like, dude, imagine their whole life. He's only 36. He has more money.
He's 36.
Yeah.
Isn't Messi like the top paid player?
Yeah.
In any sport, or is it? Well, I guess it's McGregor.
McGregor I think was top this year, but like in terms of followers, I think Ronaldo is the most Instagram followers in the world.
He's crazy.
Like he gets paid like $35 million post Instagram.
What? How do you get to that point?
You just have to be Ronaldo. You have to be handsome and good at soccer.
And I'll give him this. His underwear commercial. It's pretty good.
But I'm saying sex sells. Ronaldo knows that better than anyone.
He has that was a good underwear commercial.
No, Ronaldo's a genius, man. Like Ronaldo is a genius. He's better than LeBron with marketing. Ronaldo's a god. Like I love dude.
You love Ronaldo.
No, I actually like Messi better.
Really?
But like I love how like so dude, the commentary in Europe is so much more like in soccer. The soccer world is so much more, and I'm American, so I don't even understand it that much. Like, compared to like someone like Ray who lives in England, like he knows way more about it than I would. Just the way soccer is covered in the world is so different than like how we cover like baseball.
How do they cover it?
It's like a religion. Like when they speak about Messi, like people speak about Messi, he's literally the god of football. And like they literally will say that. Like they'll be like, "Oh, Messi, the god of football." Like, and they say these things and like they literally mean it. Like he's like a god. Like he doesn't exist. Like when he goes to play for PSG, he'll draw like millions of people in the street just to have a glance at him because they don't believe he exists. Because it's just like a religion. It doesn't like, yes, people are gonna say, "Oh, football's a religion, baseball's a religion." Like,
not really, not to that extent.
Yeah, people like hardcore soccer heads follow soccer. Like because like I started to realize like why the appeal. The appeal isn't just the sport. It's like everything around the sport. It's just like it is like very exciting to like see. It's just so much more like it's just like romantic compared to a lot more sports. Like baseball is romantic too. I will say like baseball has its moments that like are unforgettable because it's very like. It's not as much scoring. Like I love soccer because like soccer is a lot harder to do well versus football. Like and it's just like soccer is just one of those games that you don't have to be like the strongest kid in the locker room. You don't have to be like the biggest kid. Like it's like people like Messi. Like Messi's like 5'6".
Yeah, and he's filthy.
Like he's just he's a god of football. He's just like the god of football.
So do you think he's the best ever?
Yeah, he has to be the best ever. Because you got to think in the modern age. Like I know some of these people are like. they're not like, these insane athletes, but also like there's like modern technology and modern like training methods. So like Messi goes up against that. Like a player right now would probably be like one of the best players of all time if they played in the 1960s, just because of the fact that there's like better training and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're playing all year round. So I just think Messi, with being on this like insane playing field where everyone's professional, there's no there's like Jamie Vardy's only 1 in a million. Most people are like playing their entire lives. Like that's why I think Messi is so good, because Messi has been able to transpire that, and you watch him play. Like even Ronaldo is like this too. Like you watch Messi play, and like there's no distinction like that. He's like there's no argument that he's better, that he's not as good as Ronaldo. Like he's clearly better. You just watch him play. Like just the way he just like dribbles and just how he is. He's just like better. Ronaldo. Like I was seeing a bunch of memes. It was like pictures like United players like getting mad. It was like when Ronaldo smashes the free kick into the wall.
Smashes the what?
The free kick into the wall.
What is that?
Like
the free kick.
yeah.
The free kick into the wall. Oh, okay.
Like that's just a big Ronaldo thing. Like,
Yeah.
Ronaldo has a lot of errors compared to like Messi. Messi's just like Messi, and also Messi just pure class though. Like you never
Yeah, I never heard anything
never
bad
hear
about
anything
Messi.
bad about Messi. He's just pure class. Like
Yeah.
he's nothing bad. Like he's literally worshipped as like a god character within Europe and South America. Like
That's so cool.
Like he's literally like Jesus.
So yeah. So what happened? Did you see all those people storm the field at the soccer game?
What one?
I don't know. I just saw on like the Guardian UK where these kids all these fans, like the literally entire fan section, stormed the field because this guy, one of the players, like kicked a ball at him. And they all just were like, "Fuck you!" And they all just like stormed. It was,
Dude,
and they had to quit.
so
They stopped the game. They're like, "We can't finish this." Like
That's
the team wouldn't come back.
It's
out.
so electric.
Yeah,
Dude, like there was a lot like probably 10 years ago, there was a game between Leicester and I think Watford, and this was before like Leicester was like sick. So it was like one of the FA Cup semifinals. It was in the 92nd minute, and Leicester had a penalty, and if they scored, they're gonna go to the final of the FA Cup. The guy muffs the penalty, like he misses it, whatever, and the goalie gets it. And the goalie rolls the ball out to the defense, and it's like literally the last seconds of the game. And it's like the commentary is like classic. It's like one of the most classic English commentaries. Like, it's his cock, Deeney. And then like Deeney scores in like the last second of the game. So they were going from having a penalty to scoring. It was at home.
yeah.
The entire fan section comes out in the field. They're going insane. They're picking up. Their players are in the stands. Like
Really?
the Watford players are in
That's
the stands.
wild.
And Knockhart was the he was the guy who took the penalty. And he just sat in the field, just looked up in the sky, like
Dude,
knowing he just kicks that one other direction.
you would have had
Such
it.
different. Dude, imagine being on the other side of that. Like imagine being
That
there's
would
like a
suck.
buzzer beater.
That would suck.
Like
That's the worst feeling in the world.
Like just being on the other side of a buzzer beater, like knowing like you have this opportunity like to win,
Yeah.
and someone just gets the most lucky that ever been in their life.
I mean,
No, because soccer is just like such a classic like sport. Like when you follow it, you realize like there's so many historical things. Like the commentators themselves, like they're like it's way different than the U.S. with like how they cover soccer. Like soccer is just so different. Like that's why I love it. Like I think it's so much more romanticized. It's like it's more of like just a culture rather than like us jumping from football to basketball to baseball every year.
yeah, that's fair. So how does the leagues work? I don't really understand.
So in England, for example, like they have like feeder leagues, right? So there's the Premier League, which is like, the Chelsea, Man United, Man City League. Then you have like the Championship League, which is the same concept, right? So they don't play for playoffs. They play for points. Wins 3 points, ties 1 point, lost 0. So at the end of the season, whoever has the most points wins. So in the Championship, if you have the most points, you win the league, but you also get promoted to the Premier League. In the Premier League, if you're the bottom 3 team, you get demoted to the Championship. And that has a ripple effect throughout the other leagues because you move up through the leagues, right? A team like Leicester was in like EFL League 2, so they had to move up 3 leagues to get to the Premier League, and then they won the Premier League a few years later. Like that's why it's like one of the most insane stories.
how many leagues are there?
There's like 4.
Okay. And then, so that's just England?
That's everywhere.
Oh, so they have, wait, there's 4 leagues everywhere?
No, well, England has a lot more leagues, but like a lot of other leagues, like a lot of other countries, like there's like feeder leagues into like their main league.
And then, so what's the internet? Do the other countries play each other
Yeah,
ever?
in the Champions League.
The Champions League.
So the Champions League is the top 4 teams from each of like Europe's like biggest leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's the top 4 teams from England, top 4 teams from Spain, top 4 teams from Germany, top 4 teams from Italy, top 4 teams from France, top 4 from maybe Turkey, or maybe they have 2. But either way, like so then other like smaller leagues will have like 2 slots or 1 slot. Like so there's 2 teams in Scotland. So Scotland has its own league. It's the Scottish Premiership. They're not in England, right?
Okay.
They're not in the English Premier League. There's 2 teams in Scotland called Celtic and Rangers. You ever heard of those 2 teams?
Yeah.
Do you ever see the Vice documentary on those teams?
No.
Dude, all right. So for our listeners, right? So Scotland is a really politically and religiously divided place. So you have people who are loyalists, like in the United States back in the Revolutionary, and people who are like who are Irish, right? Mm-hmm. They're Catholic, and all the loyalists are Protestant. So there's 2 teams in Scotland. They're like the biggest thing in Scotland. It's the Celtic, which is like all the Irish fans, Catholic Irish fans, and there's Rangers, who are all like the Queen loving like British fans, right? And like these guys, like when they have games against each other, like they have to shut the city down. Like it's that serious.
Really?
These guys like live and die by like an actual like warrior's code. Like so they'll be living on like 2 blocks over from each other. Like you'll be able to live on a Rangers or Celtic block. Like and serious? These guys have gangs that go out after football, like after soccer matches, just fight.
What the fuck?
After every match.
That's ridiculous.
They just fight and they kill each other.
Oh my god!
It's like there's like a warrior code, and like they like respect. They all know who of each other, and they just respect each other. They live like gangs, like they take it so seriously.
So do those 2 teams only play each other?
No, there's a whole league in Scotland, but they're the 2 teams in Glasgow, and like they're so prevalent. Like Celtic, the brand is bigger than like a majority of like English teams. Like Celtic, if it, like has a bigger brand like Spurs.
Okay.
And I know Econ, if you listen to this, is going to get mad at me for saying that. But Econ, I'm telling you the truth. Celtic has a bigger brand than Spurs, and you know that. A lot of people know what that is. Like, they were the first British team to win the Champions League, Celtic.
Okay.
Like, they're major, right? Like, and Rangers, like, they hate each other. Like, they literally, like, kill each. Like, the players hate each other still to this day. Well, it's the same thing in Argentina. It's River Plate versus Boca Juniors, right? It's the team of Buenos Aires. And they like whenever they play each other, it's like it's anarchy. Like they can never have games because of it. So there's a Spanish champ. It's a South American Champions League like they have in Europe, and the Copa Libertadores, I think it's called. And so it's River Plate versus Boca Juniors in this final, right? And like this is like the biggest trophy in South America. Like either of these team wins, like they'll have bragging rights for whatever. And the game was supposed to be played in Argentina, so this entire stadium would have been packed to the brim with Boca Junior and River Plate fans. And I talk about how brutal the Celtic fans are and the Rangers fans. They're worse. Like, they're way worse.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, they literally, like, they'll like, beat the shit out of refs. Like, they don't care. Like, they're crazy.
What the fuck?
They had to move the game from Argentina to Spain because of how crazy the atmosphere was. The players refused to get on the field. Like, people were terrified for their lives because of how crazy the fans were.
Jeez. That's ridiculous.
It's just 2 areas in Argentina, 2 neighborhoods within Buenos Aires, and they just get into like insane brawls. Like, and the fans like despise each other so much.
Yeah, it's like our political parties.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, there's a resolve.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The game.
Like, there's a game.
There's
it's
a
like
game.
Rome. That's how Rome did it.
Yeah,
like, there's just a game. Like
like
these guys hate each other. Like Celtic and Rangers, they hate each other so much. One of them is an IRA. Other one like loves the Queen, right? Mm-hmm. They hate each other so much, but on like Saturday nights, they're all gonna be at like Celtic Park or Ibro to go watch Celtic versus Rangers and like get like absolutely shit faced before they go to these games. Like it's the most electric atmosphere. Like you need to watch tonight the Celtic versus Rangers Vice documentary.
Okay,
it'll blow your mind. These people, they're like utterly insane.
It does sound wild.
Like like it's sick. Like, I'm not saying insane in a bad way. Like they're fanatics.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
Like people pretend like we have it.
We don't.
It's not even close.
We don't have it.
It's not like a Mets fan's gonna be like, oh yeah, like let's go like scrap the Yankees fans like constantly. Let's go burn them. Like let's go go kidnap a Yankees fan, beat the shit out of him, and leave him on the bridge. Yeah. Like that's what they do. That's like it's not like all the Mets fans are all the Yankees fans live. Like they know of each other and they know like
they know their house.
And they're segregated by areas. Like you're a Celtic fan if you live in this area, you're a Rangers fan if you live in that area, and that's it. You cannot be either one. You can't even marry. Like there was this kid I was learning about it. Because in Northern Ireland it's very similar. Like the cultural divide between like Irish and English, right? There's an insane cultural divide. And in Northern Ireland and Scotland is like two main places where that's really prevalent. So in Northern Ireland, it's the same kind of thing. Like the Protestant kids or the Catholic kids literally cannot marry Protestant girls, and they literally will live in the same exact place, and they literally cannot associate with each other, and they look exactly the same.
It's so stupid.
It's all because of like religion.
But that's so stupid to me. But that's the same with the soccer thing. Do they ever just think, hey, like they take a step back, like what are we doing?
No, it's that.
Like, this is a game
because it's so hype. Like think about like 90th minute, someone just scores like an absolute banger. Like you're waiting the entire game for that, and it happens.
But at the end of the day, they're literally just kicking a ball in the net.
But it's just so much passion. They take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Like the World Cup was taken so seriously in Italy. Like I was watching videos of what was going on in Italy after they won. Like okay,
you must be going
best,
nuts when they won.
So the best, like you know, like the NFL has insiders like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. So World Soccer has insiders too, and the best one is Fabrizio Romano. You probably have seen tweets from Fabrizio Romano. You don't realize it.
I don't.
He's He's Italian. He's like he literally works like he freelances though, but he works for all the networks. He has the best job in the entire world. He's constantly working though. He's constantly on the phone. He knows every single person in world soccer.
Yeah.
He knows things before they happen, like way before they happen. Like he knew about the Messi thing way before. Like he's literally like this. He's literally on the phone constantly. I'm watching another Vice documentary on him.
Vice documentaries.
On Fabrizio Romano, like how he only lives in Milan because like apparently all the agents live in Milan, and they like he knows everyone. Like, he'll be on the phone the entire day, just calling people and asking to transfer. He's an insider, right? He has the most insane jobs. He was like posting video because he's Italian. He was posting videos of what was going on in Milan. Dude, like it looked like the entire city was there. Like, yeah, if the Yankees won, it would be sick and everyone would be hype. But at the same time, like they have so much passion for their country winning the World Cup. I mean, the Euros, that like they will like go off. Like the party didn't end. I don't think the party has ended yet.
They're still going after
like
it.
They go so hectic, dude. And the British fans like have like panic attacks like after they lose that game. Like they're so depressed.
Yeah, it's a different breed. I mean,
it's so sick.
It's kind of like mints. No,
but dude, like, it's not even close. Like they have like literally like fanboy problems over players. Like
yeah.
Like, and they're so popular. Like they're like gods. Like that's why I'm saying Messi's like a god, the god of football.
Yeah, this is I'm trying to like think about what other people are passionate about here that relates to that, and I don't think it's anything.
It's that much bigger.
The only thing I could think it's really political parties.
Yeah,
like, that's
no, like soccer is that much bigger.
Yeah,
than anything in the U.S.
That's
Even though
cool.
The money in the U.S. like the Dallas Cowboys, the Yankees are worth more than Real Madrid, but at the same time, like the overall, it's worth more just like as a sport because you have more.
I
more
much
viewers.
rather the passion than the money behind it.
Oh my god, dude! It's like it's one of the most electric like things to watch. Like a good soccer game is sick. Like when Italy won, I was so hyped. Like even though like I'm just so not like Italian I'm not like actually off the boat Italian anymore. But like it's
We're a few
cool to
generations
see.
down.
Yeah, like it's cool to see like them win.
Yeah, see our heritage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
wait, what time?
Yeah, do you want to talk about anything else and we can wrap it up?
What time did we start?
We've been going for 2.5 hours.
Okay, want to wrap it up?
You want to talk about something? Did you want to talk about anything?
No.
When you came in?
We just went.
We did go. So do you want to just wrap, or you want to talk about one more thing?
I'm so hungry. Are you hungry?
Wait, want to go food?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
this is how we wrapped the second one. That's how we wrapped the first one too.
Really?
We wrapped about getting food.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We went to Chick-fil-A. I don't want to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's kind of too far. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate you, my first recurring guest.
You got it.
It's been a pleasure.
You got it.
Thanks, man. All right.
All right.
Peace.